West Adelaide has enjoyed a brave run this season. The Bloods finals fantasies only ended with a loss to North Adelaide last weekend. Some would think they'll ease their way through the final round, but Andy Collins has surely schooled his team better than that. The Bays are premiership favourites and on a 14-game unbeaten run. Are they set for a fall? It's round 23 as West Adelaide takes on Glenelg.
Little bit of deja vu for grandstand football this afternoon. We were here last weekend to watch Westies play North Adelaide, probably their last roll of the dice in terms of making the finals this season. Now they come up against the premiership favourites at Ben Knights. They've got a job in front of them for motivation, let alone beating the premiership favourites.
Well, they certainly do. Happy Father's Day to everyone out there, and happy Father's Day to you, Neil.
Thank you.
And my dad, who probably won't see this in Melbourne, but West Adelaide certainly do have a job in front of them. I'm sure Andy Collins has got the team up and about. It'd be great for them to finish on a winning note. They're certainly a developing side. For the Glenelg, on the other hand, a bit to play for. They want to go into the finals, obviously, with a bunch of confidence.
Well, they might take a line, Westies this is, through yesterday's game at the Parade. Norwood taking on Central District, and an amazing upset with Norwood beating Central District, and certainly indicative of the season for the Redlegs being somewhat wasted.
No doubt. Look, the Redlegs match up pretty well against Central Districts. They always back themselves in to come out and compete. They've been unlucky early in the year to lose, only just, and then went out there and actually made a pretty good fist of it as well against Central District. So Norwood went into this game knowing, number one, it's a home game, number two, it's the last game of the season, and number three, with their caretaker coach Jared Cotton, who has got a lot of respect around the club, perhaps going to his last game as coach, depending upon what happens next year with the senior job. There was a bit on the line for the Redlegs, and they came out. They played a very good brand of football early. They actually jumped the Bulldogs, and you know, with the likes of Taylor Walker playing extremely well up forward, and a lot of their senior players, you know, the Gallaghers of the world, the Tim Weatheralds you see here, kick a goal, they really stood up yesterday and made a big difference.
Centrals had beaten Norwood both games this season by 17 points in round 14, and of course in a memorable game that we had on Grandstand ABC Football at the Parade by just 1 point in round 6. So they were certainly, as you suggested, very close to Centrals in terms of matchups. And by the way, Andrew Hayes may well find himself on report for that hit on Simon Phillips.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, there was a bit of spite in the game, and Norwood came out firing. They've got a lot of young kids in the team as well, Norwood. Jared Cotton's done very well. There's one of their older guys, Chris Massey, a great career at Carlton, Adelaide, and also to finish off at Norwood, and he'll be sorely missed around the club.
A 6-point victory. You mentioned Taylor Walker, important for them up forward, kicking 5 goals in a very good display that keeps him in with a chance, I would have thought, of playing for Adelaide in the final series of AFL yet. As we look through just those results yesterday, North Adelaide, well, in the end, a 10-goal win over the Panthers, but it was close at half-time. Only 11 points in it in favour of the Roosters. They certainly kicked into gear in the second half. They'll face the Eagles, who had a bye next week in the elimination final, and Sturt ending Tim Ginever's time at Alberton with a 58-point win.
Yeah, 2 games that you certainly expect. Norwood getting over Central is not the expected result. In today's game, West and Glenelg, as we look at the ladder, Westie's there to finish on a positive note, coming 6th and certainly improving under Andy Collins. The 3 leaders, though, you'd think Glenelg, Centrals and Sturt. We'll see Glenelg today certainly at the top of the tree in more ways than one.
And note that Port Adelaide only won 1 wooden spoon in their entire history, and that was in 1900, but less teams then. They've actually never finished lower, so a very low point for the Port Adelaide Footy Club. You wonder how much they'll improve with a new coach next season. Well, on to last weekend, round 22, when Glenelg took on the Eagles at Brighton Road, and Eagles, well, really blown away in the opening quarter. 6 goals, 5 to 1 goal, 1. They trailed by 34 points, and the Bays comfortably home through this game.
Certainly right, Neil. The Eagles just let themselves down a little bit early. I mean, there was, you see the clash of bodies there, but they played some good patches of football early, but at the same time let themselves down by letting Glenelg get away, and really the game was done and dusted, as you mentioned, at half-time. And despite the fact the Eagles came back at Glenelg, I think they'd be pretty happy with the way they went about it and the result they ended up with.
Eagles have used a phenomenal number of players this season in their league side, something like 48, 49 players. Only Westies, in fact, have used 46. So the Eagles have the most number of players they've put up and through their side, and yet it's an amazing performance by Ron Fuller in his last season at Oval Avenue to get his side into the finals.
Yes, definitely. They, you know, as I said, they've been up and down in games, but they've also been up and down throughout the season, but they've done enough to hang in. They've played some very good football at times, and with that huge turnover, I mean, playing over two full teams worth of players, that's a massive stat. And the fact that Ron Fuller's been able to conjure up some very good victories and to get them into the finals, that's a credit to the man.
Said Ron Fuller's last season. It's also the last season for Mark Passador. A disappointment, though, with only 2 behinds to his credit in that particular match against the Bays, who won pretty comfortably in the end in round 22 last weekend. We were here at the Richmond Oval, as I mentioned, a bit of deja vu. Westies taking on North Adelaide. At that stage, Westies 3 points behind North Adelaide, and was some silly chance of making the finals if they had beaten North Adelaide.
Yes, that's right. The cards had to fall their way. That was certainly the case. North Adelaide, though, really wanted to come out, make a statement. You see the conditions there, quite heavy. There was a lot of rain, a lot of wind through the day, as we saw. And it was a tough, hard-fought game, and we see, you know, a couple of good quality pieces of play. A lovely goal from North Adelaide. Good to see George String getting a game for North Adelaide as well after having moved across from Sturt. Westies were in it. It was a tight tussle all day, but North Adelaide doing enough in the end to get the result.
Might see Matt Wright involved in some of these pitches. Number 3 for North Adelaide, of course. He now has a knee injury out of this particular game. That is going to mean he won't play for the rest of the season. A big blow to the midfield for the Roosters. They led by 17 points in the second term, but only by 7 at three-quarter time. Didn't kick a goal in the final quarter. West Adelaide just kicking the one through Ryan Bennett, and they ended up very, very close to losing this game, shall we say.
I think they were very happy, North Adelaide, to get up, and Westies obviously disappointed at their home ground to drop a game.
Ryan Bennett, I mentioned him. In fact, he's out of this afternoon's game. Reason being, he's played in the Riverland yesterday for Renmark. Of course, he was plucked from Renmark in round 14 to play for Westies against Sturt. Played in the preliminary final, helped Renmark beat Waikerie by 45 points yesterday, and therefore, well, they're into the grand final against Loxton as we join Sodas on the boundary line. And Sodas for Westies, gee, they've got a job in front of them this afternoon.
Yeah, they have. Look, Glenelg are in super touch at the moment, but just a bit of an injury update for the Westie supporters out there. Super tough nut Stevie Morris did have his knee reconstruction on Tuesday in Melbourne. Went very successfully, but just a little bit of extra blood pooling as a result of that operation. So it stopped him from flying over here to watch the Bloods in action for their last game. But the club hopeful to see him in the second half of next season. So good news for Stevie Morris and for West Adelaide. Another success story for West Adelaide this year has been Bronick Davies coming over from the Northern Bullants. He's not going to play today. He's just got a bit of an injury in the ligament in between the two lower leg bones there, the tib and the fib, so he's not going to be playing. But the Bloods are still pumped up despite not playing finals.
I was talking to the boys and not used to missing out on finals, and last 2 years we've done that. And how do you approach the last game? And obviously, I suppose our motivation is that, you know, we're defending our home ground. You know, we've only lost 2 games here, but, you know, we've been talking a lot about how to play the last game all week.
Can I suggest that maybe beating the side that, well, may well win the premiership might be one motivation?
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, we know that it is not a grand final, and that they won't be bringing that grand final attitude to the game as well. I'm hoping that the results of what occurred yesterday with Norwood beating Centrals will add as an incentive for the boys to finish off with strong character.
Well, Andy Collins rather laconic in that interview, but certainly he'd be fired up, and he would have got his boys fired up coming against the minor premiers today. It's a really good balance in their side there. A lot of developing young guys, also a balance of experience. So I'm looking forward to seeing this West Adelaide lineup.
And so does a late change for the Bays.
Yeah, Danny Meyer out of the side with a virus, so not a serious issue for Glenelg. They won't play next week, so he should be fine to take part in their finals campaign. No real problems there to be worried about. The much anticipated return of Todd Grimer today after that broken wrist. He's had 5 weeks off. He actually had the cast taken off 10 days ago, so he's had plenty of opportunity to get his hand on the pill and just get some touch back into his game as he's ready for a massive game for the minor premiers today.
Well, that was something we could never really control, you know, events of yesterday, but you know, our agenda is very much about playing really good footy, you know, in this last minor round game, and making sure that we get our good processes in place and doing things properly and getting 4 quarters under the belt, because consistency has been a goal of ours for a few weeks now, because that's an area that we haven't really done well over 4 quarters.
Important, though, to get the win, just to give yourself a spur going into the finals as well?
Yeah, very much so. We're certainly here to give our best shot, and it's just about everybody contributing and playing well as a team.
Well, Mark Micken, a very disciplined coach, and he expects a lot of his team to play in that disciplined manner. We've heard about the fact that Danny Meyer is out today. Also, Richard Douglas going back, playing a good game for Adelaide on Friday night. So they'll miss a couple of key on ballers, but the inclusion of Grimer, obviously massive for Glenelg up forward.
Let's have a look at the toss of the coin this afternoon. Ryan Ferguson on the left there, and Ben Mills on the right from the Bays. And the toss won by Benny Mills, and Sodas will explain in depth about what that means in terms of the weather.
Well, the breeze at the moment, a little bit swirly, perhaps favouring the right, but pretty much going across the ground from the far side over to us here on the grandstand side of the ground. So we'll keep an eye on that breeze. It is swirling, so it may change throughout the day. Expect the top around about 18 degrees. Nice weather. We know finals are just around the corner. The sun's out. The ground here has recovered beautifully from all the rain that we had last week here when Westies took on North Adelaide. So it's in good nick. The boys looking pumped and ready to go. A possible shower is the forecast for later on, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Thanks, Dad. Sodas, and the players just going into position and just about ready for a start to this game. Looking forward to it. A big task for West Adelaide taking on Glenelg. Here's Michael Maney with the first bounce.
Round 23, the penultimate round, and the minor premiers Glenelg. Terrific effort by them. And happy Father's Day to all those dads out there. And if you're not at the Richmond Oval, grab your kids and come down and watch a brilliant game of footy. If you can't get there, enjoy it this afternoon on ABC television. The umpires there, Bowen, Ralston and Feeler. Gary Feeler done some AFL games this year and really is an umpire on the improve. And as Neil said, the ground in absolutely wonderful condition. And the most inefficient team, West Adelaide, 17 possessions per scoring shot. They'll need to be influential today. The most inaccurate team, Glenelg, 49%, but they have the most scoring shots. We're underway. Cranston, the best ruckman in the competition statistically. Ruwalt, Allen, tackle from Lobby. Mules did it well back to Cranston. Kirk from half back. Punches a long kick. Bricknell in front. Loves to run off to Ferguson, who had to shrug. Away to Munn, so they work it out back to Jeremy Rowe. Back in the side today. Best for West Adelaide in the reserves. He's gone deep into his defensive area and he decides to run it through. You can do that in SANFL football, so no problems there. But the first scoring has been done and the Bays are on the board.
Well, it'll be interesting to see Glenelg set themselves a big task today to really try and run over the top of West Adelaide. West Adelaide looking quite pumped up, all the boys before the game, so no doubt they've talked about it being a home game, their last game for the season, so putting a big effort on the board would be their #1 aim.
Well, Westies managed to work it towards centre wing, but having done that, they turned the ball over with a bit of a slip, and now Backwell back the other way, running for him, Kane. He's the next man in the chain. Kane back to Backwell, running outside, and then inside half forward, looking for Grimer. Grimer pushed, umpire said yes, free kick go to Thompson. So Kurt Thompson will take the free kick for West Adelaide. They get another opportunity to build from the back. Short pass is available inside. Gee, in the end, he took his time, did Thompson, then finally decided to dish it to Cracker, who in turn went to Rowe on the far side of the ground. So Rowe with a couple of disposals earlier. Jeremy Rowe come back to this side of the ground to Ferguson. He's got one available in Munn if he goes quickly. Bricknell's with him, so there's good support. And they're away, Westies. Bricknell opts against the short pass, instead went to Martin, full-chested on the lead. And Martin, who not a known goal kicker as such, only the 1 goal straight for the season. The boy from Flagstaff Hill, big lad at just 19 years of age.
Certainly got some good size on him.
Let's see if the boot matches the size. From 51 metres, good effort, got the distance away to the right. Minor score, scores level down to Sodas on the boundary line.
Just on the bench for West Adelaide, the two boys there, Ryan Anderson and also Tate Silverlock, and Tommy Langford just getting a little bit of work on the lower back.
Haven't seen any action either, Mark, so it's a bit of a worry. Must have just tweaked something in the warm-up. Panozzo just waits and waits and then delivers to Mules at half-back. Mules goes in short. It's okay to Allen. Matthew Martin will be almost the centrepiece of their forward line today with Bennett out, gone back to the Riverland. And Willits also will be that lead-up player. Kirk at half-back for the Bays. Pretty important that Kirk has a good run into this final series. Remember, it was a late inclusion into the finals last year. Kirkby, long way from goal on the outer side. Reasonable crowd in today. There's a few more people on the outer than were there last week. We got a drenching. Kirkby with a slow build up to Ben Kane. Wants to give it to Ruwalt, but he couldn't quite get the handle. He's got it now. Goes in short. That's okay, is it? Yes, it's all right. Block from the pocket. Does the discipline thing. Kicks to the top of the square. Grimer flew. Well done, Rowe. Snagged by Grimer. Handball back, looking for Kerr. He'll want the boundary line. He flicks it back to Thompson. Fisher, nicely done to Jeremy Rowe, who then gets it to Greg Rowe. He goes in short. Beach has just waited for it, then feeds the handball to Izard, who will run with him today. Izard with a worm burner looking for Martin. Martin's pickup was exemplary, taken by Caruso, whose wobbly old kick. Willits couldn't mark it. Kirk's right over the top. Caruso slipping over. Well done, Glenelg. They work it out. Kane got it from Adlington.
Kane just taking his time, waits, and then selects the option down the line. Button slipped the hand pass very quickly, and the Bays into attack through block. 60 from goal, turns around and waits. Grimer's on the lead. That's the target. Again, Grimer caught going to body and body, and it didn't happen for him. And as a result, Westies able to come away through Munn and then Fisher, who went wide for dropping back there, Cracker. So Cracker takes his time. Bailey's running for him and can keep running. This is what Stephen Bailey will do all afternoon. Down towards centre wing long, asking Webb to take a mark. Panozzo with the crumb for the Bays. Backwell is free in the middle, and with support from Murphy, just pushed off his kick. Grimer again on a lead, this time more success. Allen, slick hand pass, blocked with the opening goal, no. They're in front by 1 point, the Bays. Down to the bench for the Bays with Sodas.
Josh Willoughby down there, pretty handy against Glenelg last time with 3 goals. Justin McConnell and also Jared Callock, who came in for his first run last week.
Thanks, Mark. Bailey on the outer side. Just pushes off the line, got a good shepherd. Then spreads it in, but Murphy's got a stretch. He was looking for Izard, but Murphy read it well. That's a bit of a shank. Lobby couldn't mark it, but his recovery skills are okay. Handball wasn't. Allen tried to feed it to Backwell. It bounced to Cranston. Cranston sits it up high. So we've got 2-on-1 here, and a lovely mark by Button. Grimer just holding off Thompson, and Button just came in from the side. And this big fella, Ben, he can play a bit, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the body size on the lad is certainly favourable, or in his favour in terms of his opponent today. And also looking at the Glenelg setup, you know, they've got a couple of good sized boys up there who can take some strong grabs. So Grimer's obviously been the target, but to get 2-on-1 there, if they get that, they'll be kicking lots of goals.
This for a 7-point lead. Lockie Button close to the man on the mark. He might have just hooked it. He did. I think it might have gone over the top of the goalpost. So missed a couple of golden opportunities. Block on the run, and then Button just couldn't nail it.
Absolutely. We have a look though at the Glenelg lineup across the board. They've got the ball in the hands of their key players. You know, Kane, Kirkby, Block, Allen. They've all got a lot of the football early here. They've had 2 or 3 touches, so favourable signs for Glenelg at this early stage.
Bricknell, and already you can see a pattern for Westies of trying to kick in to that outer side of the ground. Fisher went high. Now he's grabbed. Umpire says he'll have it. So we get a ball up. 70 out from the defensive goal face of the Bloods. Cranston and Button both involved, and then Button with a big tackle for the Bays. So they've got 2 ruckmen around the stoppage. You wonder if there'll be a little bit of experimenting with things like this for the Bays this afternoon, Ben. They will obviously have next week, the first week of the finals, off.
Yeah, you certainly think that, Neil. I mean, Mark Micken's been quoted as saying that there won't be anything different this week, though. He won't try and mix it up. He's going to keep everything reasonably similar to the way they've gone, but no doubt you'd think Mark Micken would use this opportunity to throw a few boys around a little bit.
Kane was pretty good. Block off the left foot, just sat it up. Grimer with the push again, and this time he'll be penalised again. Seen a bit of that from Grimer already. Nursing that wrist back to full health and fitness. Hall slipped out the hand pass. Pinozzo long and just to the left for the minor score. Peppering the goals, or at least the behinds.
Certainly right, and very early on West Adelaide are going quite defensive. They pushed all their players up, and there's only one player for West Adelaide inside their forward 50 and inside actually their attacking half. So reasonably worrying signs, I guess, at this early stage for West Adelaide. And if they're just going to keep bombing it long outside the 50, that top side of the ground, I'd say it's going to keep coming back more times than not.
Bricknell to the outer side. Button read it so nicely in front of Fisher. A bit of a height disadvantage for Fisher. Button goes in short. Lobby. Good contest. Izard. Handball. Lobby did so well to Burst, who fumbled a moment ago. Got a clean possession, but the handball wasn't all that bright. In they go. Kirk tries to crash through. Bullocking style. Did it okay. Cranston on hands and knees. The umpire said he's over the shoulder, and a free kick goes to the big man, who is the leading tap ruckman in the competition. Gives to Hall. Hall's got a thumping kick. He goes looking for Grimer. Thompson went up pretty early, knocked it down. Roving Fisher. He found a way somehow to get it to Allen. Now Allen doesn't kick many goals, so he gives it to Grimer, who flicks it to Backwell, whose left footer is pretty good. Bays get the first goal, and they've peppered away, as Neil Cross said. But Brett Backwell, very, very skilled player on either side of his body.
Well, at the moment for West Adelaide, there are certainly some worrying signs about the fact that Glenelg are finding many, many avenues to get the ball back into the forward 50. We've seen the kick-outs from West Adelaide go to the top side, and each time Glenelg have loaded up and managed to rebound. That, I think, is Glenelg's 9th inside 50, and we're only at the 10-minute mark, so if you were 9-2 inside going inside 50, so worrying signs for West Adelaide if Glenelg get that many opportunities.
Cranston, beautiful tap down. Backwell couldn't handle it. Fisher, he hooked the ball in, but was immediately trapped.
Keep in mind, no Danny Meyer today for Glenelg, as we mentioned before the game. Also Richard Douglas from last week's team going out back to the Crows. So a couple of key ball winners, but they seem to have a plethora of those sorts of guys in their team.
Well, Backwell looked to have it and looked to drop it. Now Block has it, and he drops it out wide. Question of who had the better strength then, and in the end it was Kane. So Kane looks, waits, then assesses. Hand pass is better. Ruwalt was aware that outside him was Pinozzo. Pinozzo forced to hold up by Rowe, though. Now he goes back inside. Gee, that was a lazy kick. Kane gathered, had support from Kirk. Nobody behind Kirk. Westies, as Ben just said, have crowded into their defensive zone, and another free kick is coming up here, and this time it'll go to Ferguson. Consummate professional, reigning best and fairest, skipper of the club. Drops it in short to Munn. He's still on defensive half back. Munn drops it in short, not the greatest of kicks. Suited Caruso because he's low to the ground, but Adlington got it. Now Kirk, and wide is Backwell. Spoke about his skills. He goes long for Grimer. This time he flies at the ball. Tries to use his strength on the ground. Ferguson was good, and Rowe was available as well.
Just flicked it over the back to Kerr. Then Cracker goes in short to Izard. No one within miles of him, and he kicks to Beach on the outer side. Pinozzo with a big fly, couldn't haul it in. Ruwalt just got it back, looking for Hall. Misdirected. Izard couldn't handle the mark. Button just flicked the handball out. Izard diving on the football quickly to Bricknell, snagged by Cranston but couldn't go on with it. Button below his knees, excellent to Fisher. He's 45 out. Is it drawing back? It's not. Another behind to the Bays. They lead by 10.
that's just pure weight of numbers by Glenelg there. It was, you know, a lot of fumbling, but the pressure from both teams was quite good outside half forward. The ability of Glenelg just to keep the pressure on the contest, pressure on the loose ball, keep working the ball forward, and again get another shot on goal. Just not the result that Glenelg and Mark Micken are looking for.
Well, Kellogg on for his first run, but let's guess which side of the ground Westies are going to go to here. Glenelg set up their zone. They could probably move it towards that outer side, and that's why, because every time Westies have gone that side of the ground, Caruso was good, and so is Fisher, but they go backwards so they can go forward. Then they decide to switch the play. Why not start on this side anyway?
This is where they're going to fall down. Because everyone went to that high side, there's actually no one out on this side, so they have to go back through the corridor.
Robbie had to make that kick. It was dangerous. Bricknell taking his time. Caruso short. That's an understatement. Caruso will go back and take his kick. Eventually called to play on. Nice little dinky pass found Cracker.
Used to be a ruckman, Neil.
Yeah, you wouldn't be tall, would you, Neil?
Under 7. They've just turned it over through trying to go to Caruso with a short pass. Fisher uses Allen. He goes wide to Kirkby on his left foot, should kick it, and he does. Again, the pressure from the Bays. They were good, and Westies just making far too many errors with the ball.
Well, at this early stage, because of the fact that Westies are pushing back so defensively, they ran forward reasonably hard that time, but unfortunately turned the ball over through the centre. That's just going to allow Glenelg a lot of opportunities to cut the ball off, and if they can get the ball and spill the ball there like they did, have goal scoring opportunities time and time again. So Westies really need to carry the ball, run the football through half forward, and then certainly use their rebound from defence if they're all going to push back in that defensive fashion.
And started the match by Allen, who opened that one up for Kirkby, who booted now 35 goals on the season. Another ball up in the centre of the ground.
At the rate they're going, Glenelg are going to have about 530 possessions today and set a world record.
Thanks, Ian. Yes, it just seems to be all the Glenelg side, doesn't it? They really are hunting the football. Another ball up coming in. No, free kick against the big man in Button. And Shane Burst, the former Bulldog and Saint. Away to Munn. Munn's kick out looking for Webb. Webb's pretty agile for a big bloke. Backpedaled nicely. Got around Lee Belt pretty easily. Then kicks inside the forward 50. Keeping his eye on it was Fisher. That is a courageous mark by Fisher. He's hurt himself too. Got collected by Kirk, and I reckon if any of us ran into Daniel Kirk, we'd come off second best.
That's a wonderful, wonderful contest. Kirk's gone in there with the football. Wonderful courage by Fisher to come back with the flight, and a really good checked kick to find Fisher running back. So great courage by both players, a wonderful contest, and Fisher's certainly looking very, very proppy, very, very sore. And I think it was the big head of Kirk that's thumped him right maybe just above that knee. So hopefully a cork, hopefully something that can be worked out, but we'll wait and see on that.
Got it spot on. Courage by both players. Kirk, it was good to see. Martin was the sprinter who got there to take the kick. From the pocket, missed to the near side.
Well, Westie's getting a couple of opportunities and much more direct play there. Good to see Munn getting the football and pushing into that half-forward line as Glenelg bring it out and run the ball with relative ease from their defensive 50.
I try anyway. Fisher, he goes wide. They have numbers at the full. Kellogg down to half forward, looking for Grimer running far and wide. Thompson's done a good job on him so far. He's gone to the ball every time. And on this side of the ground, just coming off, and geez, carrying that knee badly now. Just wonder how serious that injury might be for Ben Fisher.
Not the first time, Crossy, this year we've seen Benny Fisher come off with, after an act of fantastic courage. He's had a sensational year, probably finishing the top 3 in their best and fairest as he has that looked at.
I'd already nominate that for Mark of the Day. It was fantastic courage, as you say, Sodas. And that's not the first time. In fact, Ben Fisher's taken Mark of the Day on our grandstand coverage of the SANFL.
That's a good kick.
Well, they're freed up in the middle. They're just short of a couple of runners. That's Silverlock, who last week, I should say, had a very interesting haircut. Ezard down inside half forward. Martin, gee, that was good use of the body. Take note, please, Todd Grimer. That's how you do it.
really good strength by a 19-year-old. Certainly, I don't know what he's put down as here in terms of his weight, but he's a big body. He's put down here at 102 kilograms. I think he might even push an extra few kilos on top of that. But wonderful use of the body. Again, though, good direct play. Munn kicking it from half-back, bringing it through the centre, and then Westie's carrying the ball nicely up forward.
He said he might push a few more kilos than what's in the book. I'd reckon he pushed aside a fairly heavy player in Wade Mills there, and then he kicked a goal as well. And even the best in the competition in Brad Chambers has struggled to get rid of Wade Mills.
And I love the fact that Wade Mills is down at 93 kilograms in the budget too. So I don't know if they're up to date with their weights at the moment, because both of those boys, I think, would definitely have cracked the ton, raised the bat at some stage. But they are big bodies, and he's looked very, very promising up forward there. And I like that for West Adelaide, with Martin coming out of the square. He's taken a couple of good strong grabs. He was quick to get across and get Fisher's kick for goal. So he's keen to get a hold of the football. At 19, he looks like a wonderful prospect.
Matthew Martin 1-2-8 and Glenelg 2-5-17. That's the scoreline at the moment. Out of the middle, Greg Rowe, courageous last week, and his jumper torn off him, and or 17 in the second half. His kick is terrific, and he's got Martin again. Well, I mentioned a few months ago, earlier in the quarter, Neil, that this guy would become the centrepiece with Bennett going back to Riverland, and also Ben. It's looking just like it. They're really going for him on the lead.
Absolutely, and he's been allowed by Glenelg to play one out coming out of the square, so a bit of space to him if Westies can move the ball quickly as they did just then.
They haven't had much of the ball, West, but they've been pretty efficient going forward. If Martin can kick this, it's 9 points the difference. Well, he's had a couple on the radar. He got the second. And wonderful kick by Martin, so it's back to a 3-point margin. And I tell you what, looked very, very good in his preparation shot for goal.
Absolutely, he prepared beautifully for that. It was a wonderful kick from outside 50. And Martin there kicking a lovely long goal. We see the assessment going on there with the physio just testing Fisher's right knee. And no doubt Sodas will be onto that and keeping a good close eye. Probably knows what test they're putting on there. Looks like they're testing a couple of the key ligaments in that right knee. So fingers crossed that Fisher can, well, get clear from any serious knee damage.
It'd be horrible luck for Ben Fisher if at this stage of the season, last game, and you cop a bad knee injury, which could, hope not, but it could potentially put you out for all of next season.
Well, let's keep the fingers crossed that's not the case.
More industrious around the ball, West Adelaide, and they've got another free kick, and it'll go to Simon Munn. So reward for effort for the veteran. Munn down to half forward. Willits was the target this time, missed him badly. Button with the intercept mark. This side of the ground, he had one available briefly. He went into dangerous traffic there, but found Hall. Hall waits. Pinozzo on this side calls for the ball. Hall goes to the far side of the ground. Button lurking out there as the unlikely runner. His kick down the line, and Munn went back, couldn't take it. At the back, Anderson went in hard. Backwell overran it. Another chance for Anderson, and Munn did pretty well. Hand pass out the back for Kerr, and now Beach. And on this side of the ground, he had one loose. This is Silverlock, who's had a shave of that head that was last week. He had Silverlocks, didn't he? And now Lobby trapped, and we'll get a ball up at half forward for Westies, and all of a sudden they're up and running.
That's good play by Westies. Something Andy Collins has certainly brought into their team and developed over the last couple of years, that defensive pressure, almost the AFL game plan where you push back defensively, zone up, and then on the rebound try and run the ball forward. So doing it well after not starting as nice as they would have liked.
Lobby's kick inside forward 50, and Kirk with a big stretch. Be quite amazing if West kick the next goal. They'll be in front just after Glenelg have had so much of the football. Kirk, Adlington in the middle of that, and that's a lovely grab. Umpire said play on. I thought he had enough of that. Surely you'd pay that. Willoughby, half-distance kick to Cranston, who's come off the bench. His kick let him down. Taken by Fisher, hooked it back. Backwell and Ferguson. Kirkby, a fumble. Now he's got it, looking for an option. Decided to go to the vacant goal square, and it just burns its way to the line and will be thrown back in. Kirkby, a couple of options there, and He just confused himself.
He certainly looked to dish off, and that's what his number one option was. He really wanted to dish, but with an open goal square and you know, on the left foot, he really should have straightened up then and had a pot shot with confidence.
Willits down Ferguson, Rowe, back to Cracker, who's had some touches. Beach gets around Ruwalt, then waits. Delivers to Bailey, too fierce for him. Burse has got to be clean. Oh, his handball wasn't too good, but Thompson was good enough to nail it. He'll kick to Webb, who got a shove. No free kick. Westie's crowd want a free, and I think it was there. Kirk mopped it up to Adlington. Back to Cranston. Panozzo normally uses well. Had a man in the centre, a couple of options. Ben Kane was one of them. Couldn't take the mark, fell to Backwell. Backwell drew the player. Oh, that's a handball that set the young man Kellogg in all sorts of trouble. Ended up with Willoughby. Willoughby drives to McConnell. It flicks over the back. McConnell couldn't mark. Kirkby went in hard. So too Willits. Ferguson there, desperate to get it to Kerr, and the umpire's blown his whistle. Has he? No. Comes back away to Rowe, and Jeremy Rowe just kicks, but it's all the Bays.
That's their problem. They had numbers back in defence, but nobody to kick to coming out of there. Big pack, 20 from goal. And now the tackle made on Langford. He's in a lot of trouble. Umpire said no. 40 from goal. And the Bays sniff another one at the moment. 3 points to margin. Work rate of both sides gone up. Anderson in close. Taken to ground. Umpire will throw it up again. Cranston, statistically, as Michael said, the best tap ruckman in the competition, working hard at the fall of the ball as well. Backwell, just looking for somebody forward to play, didn't have one available. Bricknell, set it wide pretty well. Beach, he'll pull up and take his time. He's waiting for them to migrate, if you like. The herd to migrate outside defensive 50 for Westies. Beach goes down the line. Again, it looked like a push, and it was. This time Liebelt pinched. Webb will take the free kick. So Webb looks down the line, quickly goes for Willits. Willits above his head was challenged pretty well by Panozzo. Caruso was good. Looking for Munn was excellent. They look to run it pretty well, and they're getting it inside 50 pretty well, and Martin looks to take it. He might have been held, and the umpire said play on. It's out of bounds in the forward pocket. Good transition. And Kirk was certainly under pressure against the big man in Martin.
Really good play and really good transition, as you said, Neil, all the way. And, well, maybe a possible free kick, a little bit of dragging down that left arm, but certainly, you know, good signs the way the Westies are carrying the ball.
Over the top, Caruso at the bottom of the pack, close to the line. Ruwalt tried to keep it in, almost did it. Willits did. Still a chance for West Adelaide to kick that goal. Cranston, so good at that. And then his kick is okay to Panozzo, so they worked that out of there pretty well. The Bays thought about the handball for a moment, Panozzo. 25.5 gone. Bays lead by 3 points, but West Adelaide have done so well to get back. Kellogg on the outer side. Short kick to Murphy. Looks a player, this Kellogg. His delivery was good. Murphy, we know he's a good player. Just on the lead, Kirkby forced to punch from behind. Ferguson with good closing speed there. Izard, Ferguson, Siren. Good first quarter. Really enjoyed it. Good contest. Glenelg got out of the blocks, and they led by 16 points at one stage at the 14-minute mark. And the crowd in today really enjoyed that first term. And Ben Knights, your thoughts on that first term? I thought it was a real good, solid, hard quarter of SANFL footy.
Well, it certainly was. It was a wonderful quarter. I mean, Glenelg was certainly on top early. They kicked away and missed 5 opportunities very early on in that quarter, and could have been 4 or 5 goals ahead. It might have been a different matter. The fact that West Adelaide could come back, though, and really make a match of it, we're looking forward to the second quarter.
Well, we mentioned how inaccurate Glenelg has been across the season, and of course defensively West Adelaide are better than any other side at limiting the accuracy of the opposition. So it was an interesting combination that led to a lot of points before Brett Backwell finally kicked the opening goal of the game, and that took 9 minutes and 4 minor scores before the Bays finally cracked it.
Well, that's right. It was certainly a case of West Adelaide pushing a lot of numbers behind the ball as Andy Collins has drilled into them. And as you said, they really make an opposition team go wide, and they force them wide, and therefore the accuracy departs. So Brett Backwell there we see with the first goal, as you mentioned, at the 9-minute mark. And Glenelg had already kicked 4 points to that point. West Adelaide started trying to use the corridor a little bit more and started to transition from defence. Glenelg managed to turn this one over, and they turned quite a few over in the first half of that quarter. We see that one resulting in a goal, but from that point on, it was really West Adelaide who started dictating play. They managed to transition the ball much, I guess, more efficiently and with good direction. And that was wonderful courage by Fisher. Unfortunately, that left knee, as you see, a fair bit of a clash and then the whiplash effect almost on that left knee. Right knee, sorry. And the fact that, that Fisher had to go from the ground there. But that lifted the team, it gave them opportunities, and they started running the ball, using the corridor and using their space and really isolating this man here up forward. And it was the fact that Martin had 4 of their first 4 scoring shots, and their 4 scoring shots to quarter time. He was the danger man up forward.
Just showed what he was capable of, didn't he? And hasn't, as I said, seen a lot of forward play this year. Hasn't seen a lot of league football. Just the 1 goal straight coming into this game, but he's got two on the board this afternoon, and so have the Bloods as we look through those statistics. And what do they tell us? Things are pretty even.
Yeah, absolutely. And we heard early on that Moggy said that Glenelg are on line for a, for a world record tally of stats. But I think what we saw in that second half was West Adelaide then got back on top. They evened the game up. Glenelg couldn't get their hands on the footy nearly as much. The inside 50s dominated by Glenelg, but they had 10 or 11 of those in that first half of that quarter and really got shut down and slowed down when they went forward. Again, Westies forcing them with those inside 50s to go quite wide.
No, so home fans will be very happy with that opening quarter from the umpires. 8 free kicks to 1. I'm not sure the Bays travelling supporters will be happy. They would be happy, however, with the performance of Ben Kane this afternoon in the opening quarter, playing off centre wing for the Bays, and he's had a 6-possession opening quarter. Interesting to note, though, the 6 possessions made up of 1 kick, 5 hand passes.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he's that sort of player, though, that does bring a lot of players around him into the game. We see a lot of run. He pushes back as a defensive wingman. He pushes back across half-back and gets a lot of possessions there. This one was his kick going forward. But, look, that was a good grab. He, again, dished off inside. And, the way that the players are going, Ben Kane is just one of quite a few damaging on ballers that Glenelg have got. The likes of, some of their bigger guys even, Kirkby and Block, who have gone forward or been used going forward. And then, when they go forward strongly, Todd Grimer is someone that they've really been trying to hit up and maybe just a little bit out of touch at the moment as well.
Well, we know that Westies coach Andy Collins was a little bit nervous going into this game from the point of view of you just never know the psychology of going into the last game of the year with nothing much on the line. Let's hear what he's telling his players at quarter time.
Squares quick. At the same time, those players coming off the square, if your man doesn't come off the square, we've got to be sensitive to that. So really, all I want you to do is come off and inside and make sure you're still controlling them, particularly on the wing-on-wing side, on our hit zone side. Yeah? Okay? Yeah. In regards to just general play, we've done a couple of sideways handles to be intercepted rather than behind.
That's a little bit more with some of the injuries.
Yeah, we've got to be making sure that we're moving up. We're moving up, but we're getting in behind them. Those two handles, great secondary efforts for 2 people intercepts there. Both have been to the side rather than behind, all right? So making sure we're in and around rather than just stationary inside.
They are a bit harder working when they went forward as well. Let's understand.
Once I just said that
You're on the other one. I was just saying you've got a big job there. Now you've got a big job too, right?
Got to use long diagonal for our runs. A couple of times we've been short in the middle, and once on quarter, look, let's say it's not long. But all of a sudden, quarter wins 25 metres and 15 metres in the station. We shall need a contest down there, big man. Just read the ball. Let us kick the ball to you. It's windy day. Let us kick the ball to you. Contest there. Webby, liking what you're up and about. You really enjoy those changes. Remember this is what the street body language all day. Right? You understand that? All right, everyone else, stay out. It's good, working hard. Get inside 52. Look to 50 goals. Take the yardages when they exist. Make sure we give it to them, all right? Let's go for it.
Andy Collins there with a strong message to his group, but always very directional in what he wants.
Certainly right, and you heard him early on say that he wanted his players to push back, get around the back, not give those little sideways handballs and risk the intersection. So the fact that the Westies boys can actually get around the back, carry the ball forward, that's what he's after.
Quick look at the history between these two clubs, but notably more recently West Adelaide's last win against the Bays here at Richmond. You have to go back to round 4, 2004. Tell me what happened in 2004. Westies actually made the finals.
Absolutely, so maybe that augurs well for next year when they can start again.
Yes, down to Sodas now. You've been listening into the huddles.
Well, we heard from Andy Collins there. He's disappointed to find out that Benny Fisher's done his medial ligament, so his day's over. From Mark Micken, well, his message was pretty simple about the forwards. Just need to work from in front and also to have a lot more pressure inside their front half, their defensive pressure. He's made a switch too. Big Daniel Kirk's going on to Matty Martin.
Thanks for that, Sodas. Proof that ex-footballers can walk and talk at the same time. As we go to the second term, here's Michael Maney.
Oh, doing some of his most talented work down there, Mark Soderstrom. Gotta say that. Yeah, that'll be a good matchup, Kirk and Martin. Martin was really able to lose Mills in that first term and booted a couple of goals. Lobby, he's got a lot of talent, this bloke. He's going to play some AFL footy. Izard to Cracker. And away to Kerr. Kerr boots it high. Thumped away by Willits. Roving at Bailey. Collected nicely, and then his evasive skills were terrific. Away to Munn. Munn feeds it back in. Izard needs to find someone and spot someone up. And I'll tell you what, Martin on the lead again. Very, very quick over the first 5. And that's all you have to be. If you can, you've got a strong body and you're quick over 5 and you can get in front, all that needs to happen is delivery, Ben.
Well, a number of times, that's right, Martin has managed to get that space on the lead. So for a big man, he's obviously got some toe, and he's managed to find 3 or 4 metres, and that's, like you said, all you need.
The only man to do the scoring for West Adelaide from right on the paint of 50. Good kick. Might be just away to the left. And a behind, they close the gap to 2 points.
I think Mark Micken will probably be looking for a couple of his, maybe his half-back flankers, his wingmen to come off their players, push into that hole and block that leading zone up for Martin, because at the moment there is just a little bit too much space probably for Glenelg to like.
So the Bays, like Westies, opting to go to that outer side of the ground. Liebelt quick to play on. Dropped it up for Kane, opposed to Lobby, reached over the top. Kane with a better recovery. He runs along centre wing and then goes to half forward. Kirkby's dropped back. Oh, it's taken away from him by Ferguson. You wonder if he didn't have control before that happened. And so they'll manage to break from half back, go into the middle. Did he play on? No. Burse comes to this side of the ground. A little bit of space to work with. Cracker went back to half forward. Dangerous kick, got away with it. Silverlock was pretty good, overlapping Bailey from 50 is just astray. In fact, well astray in the end. Promising, though, for Westies, because this is their pattern that is working now. They've got some runners coming through the corridor.
Certainly right, and we see Stephen Bailey pushing up there off half back and getting a shot on goal. Maybe the story of the quarter, a bit the same as the first quarter, where Westies have squandered a couple of early opportunities. Glenelg did the same in the first.
Bailey had Ryan Willits in some space too, but just didn't see him. The kick out, Silverlock did so well a moment ago and did well there again. Comes in with a tackle, the number 34. Kirk goes to ground. And this is Rob Lucas. We regularly see him at the football bin. West Adelaide supporter, or is he a Glenelg supporter?
Oh, very Westies. I tell you, Rob Lucas will be upset to hear you say that.
We've seen him here at West Adelaide a lot. Thumped away by Ferguson. Hall. You see Rob Kerrin at the footy too. Is he a Westies man too, Rob Kerrin?
Yeah, he's definitely a Westies man, Big Robbie.
Westies boy, yeah.
In fact, donated some money to the upgrading of their gym, Robbie Kerrin.
Is he? He's got more than most then. Long kick. Bailey getting on the end of it. Well done. These politicians have got sort of a quit. Bailey went to play on. Cracker just into a tackle by Allen. Ball on the outer side. Taken now by Munn. There's nowhere to go. He's got around. Clever play. Bailey close to the line, and pretty forgettable bit of play on the outer side, and it'll be a boundary throw in.
Yeah, well, I've been impressed with the Westies defenders today. Certainly after the first 5 minutes or so. Thompson's been good on Grimer, shutting him down, but Ferguson, we saw him outmark before, and then Simon Munn coming off half back has been really, really influential for them.
Another stat for Bailey and Izard. He hasn't had too much of it this afternoon. Umpire comes in, circling. There was a Westies player at the bottom of the pack there, perhaps looking for a free kick. Greg Rowe, last man up.
Good to see Greg Rowe playing some good football, coming back from a very nasty knee injury, obviously a knee reconstruction with the new technology though, the synthetic graft, and came back in a lot less time, but playing some good football.
The Lobby and Cranston to go at it again. Cranston has the better of this one. Down to the front. Murphy briefly with the ball. There was a toe poke in there perhaps from block. Westies bring it away pretty well. That looked like in the back. Umpire call play on advantage. Rowe inside 50 with the long kick. It's come to the back. It's come to Willits with a fumble. And in the end, it's going to be rushed over the line. No, Adlington was heading that way. Was stopped. And now Martin with the step for a goal. Great work by Westies on the line. Have no doubt about it. Adlington saw the chance to rush the behind. And the only thing that stopped him was a tackle. Rob Karen very much enjoying that as he sits in the crowd in the grandstand here at Richmond Oval.
Well, the big man there just not quite able to get it on the foot, Ryan Willits, but to keep the ball in, keep it alive. Westies done beautifully. They knew the goal scoring opportunity could be theirs if they can just keep it alive. And a lovely snap. And look, an exciting brand of football that Westies are playing. Glenelg at the moment gone a little bit into their shell and not able to get the free run that they had at the start of that first quarter.
Third goal to Martin, and I would have a guess that he's not a father, but he's having a Father's Day out at Richmond Oval. He's only about 19 or 20, so I don't know that he'd be a dad yet. Taken by Lucas Block. Feeds it. Oh, surely a free kick against Backwell. Pushed Kerr onto a full burst. Speaking of burst, that was burst. Taken by Izard. Izard's kick spreads nicely to Cracker. Got a good bounce. Wants to go inboard, does he? He'll go down the line. Hope for a mark in a big pack. Up they go. Who's doing the roving? Mules did so well. Fed it out to Panozzo. Panozzo will go short to Willoughby, who's got to get the skates on and does. Over the top, Cranston, it hangs. But Lobby was there. Then Cranston was off. Umpire said play on. Mules got it back to Willoughby, who kept going. The kick by Willoughby, looking for Kirkby, but I tell you what, this bloke's playing some sort of a game down back in Ryan Ferguson. Lovely mark. And then his kick was a bit awkward, and Allen will take the mark in the blue boots. Ty Allen. It's about all the big flair he's got about him. He's a hard worker. Fisher just sits it up, hoping for a Grimer mark. He flew. No one can take it. At the back, Backwell can't get it. Kirkby, it'll take a miracle from there, but that's a smart kick to find Murphy, and Murphy will shoot from 30, and that is very, very smart football by Kirk.
That's a wonderful kick. It's a team kick to bring the ball back through the centre. Knew that it was almost an impossible angle, and on the left just to centre the ball up. It's a good team play, and Murphy should go back and put this one in.
Byron Murphy. Good looking kick. Goal umpire says that's all clear. And amazingly, the Bay's back in front. And they're back in front by a point. When did they kick their last goal? They kicked their last goal at the 14-minute mark of the first term.
Yeah, it's certainly a goal that they needed. They wanted to try and stem this flow and get themselves back on the scoring board importantly. But we'll go down to Sodas in a minute too. I think that Wade Mills has just come to the boundary with what looked like a bit of a knock going back in defence for Glenelg.
He's had a bit of a tough day, Wade. He started on Matty Martin, and he's been switched now with Daniel Kirk having that job. So Wade just in the hands of the trainers at the moment. We'll check that out just in a short time.
The ball in the centre. Murphy working on the ground at Cranston, and now Fisher, and now Ruwalt. Allen fumbled, coming through Anderson. Fortuitous bounce down to half forward with a kick in front of Willits. Got a beautiful bounce. Then he had some trouble with Button, and now Ruwalt towards the line under pressure. Langford doing a good job, but it was 3-on-1, and eventually weight of numbers to Button for the Bays. High and long, Thompson marks. Should have marked. Play on. Bad miss. Willoughby in. Grab. Will get a ball up. Frenetic action there. Button has come on to replace Willits. Button has come on to replace Mills. So he's playing at centre-half back at the moment. Unfamiliar position for a man who's genuinely a ruckman. toe poke was pretty well done by Hall. Got it out to Mules, then into space. Kane will get it first. Back inboard he goes, has a look, decides on the option of the hand pass, perhaps regretted that, and through come Westies again. They get it quickly down to half back, or from half back through the middle. Silverlock to open goal, and that would have completed a beautiful transition from defence to attack, and he's astray by a long, long way.
That ball certainly seems to be swaying out to that left-hand side. A lot of points missed to the left, so bit of a swirly breeze. It's not overly strong, but obviously just playing a little bit of, wreaking a little bit of havoc with the way these boys are running into open goals.
Yeah, like a magnet over the other side, isn't it? They've pushed them all there. And Panozzo to do the kicking out. Haven't come to the grandstand side of the ground all game. So they're looking to defend over that side. Big pack of players. Everyone missed it and just trickles out. Did someone get a fingernail on that? They must have in the pack. And it'll be a ball in. About a tick into 10 minutes and scores tied up, 23 apiece. And now the umpire's talking to the boundary umpire and said, did someone touch that? Because if they didn't, it'd be a free kick to West Adelaide. But the boundary umpire seems to think it's out of bounds. Yeah. Well, all the big men flew and they looked like they just missed it. Cranston didn't take it out of the ruck. Probably could have done. Did the safe option. Panozzo, Cranston, creative handball, Willoughby, nicely back to Murphy. Murphy to Kane. Kane looks up and sees Fisher. Fisher will kick. Tries to kick it inboard. Willoughby, the bounce. Thompson with some pressure. Izard tries to crash through. Locked up, and it'll be a ball up. James Izard, not an awful lot of possessions today, James Izard, but he's been thereabouts.
He's had 10, 5 of each.
And that was a wonderful take. He didn't get a possession out of that, but that was just such courage to dive through there, and that was 1-on-3. He had to stop that ball and stop it in its tracks quickly.
Oh, Beach, interesting decision. Anderson, and then to Izard. Position 11, just got it away. Not a bad kick. Lobby with a big arm, couldn't get there. Lee Belt takes it away from him towards the line. So scores level. It didn't look like it was going to be this sort of match. 14 minutes into the first term when Kirkby kicked a goal and the Bays were away by 16 points and Westies had only 1 point on the board. Well, another close contest in tight, and the umpire will come in, ball it up slightly forward of centre wing for Westies. Cranston with Lobby trying to jump at him, and Lobby perhaps had the better of that in the end, and on the ground the ball negated, nothing happening. Hall, another little slipper in there. Ruwalt, and then Hall again, opens up on his left foot, goes inside half forward looking for Grimer, was held. This time Grimer tried to go to the ball and Thompson held him. He had some problems trying to use the body in the opening turn. Not that time.
Definitely a little hold around the waist there, and that's right. Grimer's just going to work his way into this game. He's been out for a month, and it's important for him to get the hands on the footy, and he'll enjoy getting a couple of free kicks. He'll also enjoy going back and putting this one through.
Tougher season than last year when he kicked 54 goals in the minor round. This season with just 30, and he won't add to it with a shocker of a kick that time.
Again, it's just a little bit of touch, a little bit of feel. I don't think there's too much to worry about. You know, he's such a wonderful player. He's a big target for them, and Mark Mickey will just be looking for him to get a bit of touch back today and get through a full game.
Kick outside. Just stumbling back was Bailey. Daniel Kerr has had some good touches. Kicks to Webb v Lee Belt. Flicks over the back. Webb with some pace. And Beach, I should say, with the pace to take it to the line. And it'll be another ball in. Todd Grimer, 22 years of age, Gold Coast. Does he do enough in SANFL football to become a target for a mature age player in the AFL?
I don't think so. No, I don't think he quite does or makes that or reaches that capability at the moment. So, no, I wouldn't think so, but you never know.
Lovely tackle by Izard, dispossessing Chris Hall. James Izard was on Port Adelaide Power's list a couple of seasons ago and decided to stick to West Adelaide, and he's become a very good player. So too this man in Bricknell. He's run off half back. Terrific last week. kicks long. Up they go. Huge leap by Willits. No free kick in that pack. Martin, got one high, and he will line up for goal number 4. And Ben Mills just a bit crude on the tackle and turned to the umpire and said, well, what are you talking about? But I think it's there. The second go.
It slipped high, and because he went to ground, Martin, he went down and really needed to get down nice and low. But I think the free kick was there, and to kick 4 goals in the first half of football is a very good return for a young man.
Let's see if that magnet's working at the goal face. Martin, what has he booted? He's booted 3 goals 3 from 45. It is a goal. He's on fire, Matthew Martin. Well, he was quiet last week, and to be fair to him, it wasn't a real good day for power forwards last week with the weather conditions, and didn't have many possessions. But boy, oh boy, let's look at this. Free kick definitely there, and his kicking so far has been terrific.
Yeah, he seems to have a really solid kicking style. He drops the ball low, he gets the ball spinning nicely, and he's confident with his run-up. So a good, encouraging sign for West Adelaide. A little bit different that time because Willits had gone back to the square, and he was playing up a little bit higher, Martin. Willits had the fly, and then Martin on the crumb. It's good to get down nice and low and get himself a cheap free kick.
2 kicks, 1 mark, no handballs last week against North Adelaide.
Dry weather football, do you think, Neil?
Matthew Martin, he might enjoy this afternoon a bit more, I'm sure, though he's mostly played in defence. And he's playing as a key forward this afternoon and doing it well. Speaking of doing it well, there's a 25-metre free kick. Just a little bit of holding going there from Rowe after he'd given away the free kick to Willoughby anyway for the Bays. So he'll come down and kick from perhaps 60 from goal. Expect a pass coming up here. Kirkby the target. Doesn't get that far, or does it? No, it slips over the back in the end. Kirkby taken over the line. We'll get a ball in. Forward pocket for the Bays. Go Sodas.
Some reinforcement for Glenelg. Wade Mills back on the deck on Ryan Willits.
The hands full, the Glenelg defenders, or at least the key defenders. Ball back into play. Umpire will perhaps call for a rethrow, or will he? Off the ball, no, he is spotted holding, and Kellett will take the free kick.
Well, that was paid not by the controlling umpire, that was paid by the secondary umpire in the centre of the ground. So obviously saw something off the back of the pack.
I thought it might have been because of the short throw-in, but instead Kellett will take the free kick, stabs at it, and kicks a minor score to the delight of the home fans. Bays have frittered away some opportunities this afternoon. 3 goals, 7 on the board.
Which side's this going to go to, Neil? Will they risk bringing it down the corridor? It's still the defensive side, though, because of the fact the wind is pushing it quite heavily across there, and there it goes again.
They're living up to their reputation, or they're statistically the most inaccurate team in the competition. There's Lobby, couldn't take it. Jeremy Rowe tried to come through. Bailey just got a toe on it. Greg Rowe in traffic, did all right. Jeremy Rowe, a couple of rows out there, no boats, taken by, looked like Daniel Kerr, got it to Bricknell. Bricknell just sat it up, it'll be okay. Silverlock had a man running through in Langford, but he decides to use his left boot and kick long. Getting back, Martin tried to duck out the back door, it didn't go there. Kirk did okay, Backwell, Kane thought about the handball, then had no one to kick to, so he holds on. He'll release now, away to Panozzo. Panozzo wants his right boot, it hovers, and the young man who kicked it behind a moment ago, Kellogg, has got it. About 2 kicks from goal. He's not a bad kick, this bloke, in general field play. Did he play on? Umpire said no. Sits it up to Murphy. Crowd didn't think it was 15. He was right on the edge of it. Button to Backwell from 50. Long kick by Backwell, looking for McConnell over the back, reaching with a height advantage. Thompson did so well, didn't go the punch, and decided to back himself. And then Silverlock from half back is away for the Bloods.
Silverlock drops it in short. Interesting to have Thompson back there. He can play on a tall and a small. Now he's got McConnell. He had Grimer for the first quarter and a half. Long ball looking for and finding Willits, who shared it quickly with Bailey. Bailey looking for Martin, who ducked his head a bit. The ball went over the back. Panozzo. Panozzo comes this side of the ground for Hall. Set him a task. Hall's got a couple down the line if he gathers, and he does. Kane can take off. Got some support inside from Willoughby. He's also got running out the back was Button. Didn't find Button, but the bounce was kind. Button in turn switches the play to the far side. Backwell. Backwell in short, found Langford coming through and crunched Willoughby. There was nothing much in that but a hard contest, but Josh Willoughby will be very slow to get up from it.
It was a big contest, got the point of the elbow, I think, on the nose, unfortunately. But better play by Glenelg. But what Westies are doing so well is they're forcing Glenelg to go wide every time, and there's no easy kicks going inside the 50 that aren't going wide into that pocket. And Justin McConnell's been forced to lead 2 or 3 times wide into those pockets and just not being used.
Greg Rowe coming off the ground, and Fortunato Caruso wanders back on as the short chip pass goes to Block, who waits and waits, and Kirkby gives him a lead and he decides against it. His captain's inside. He decides eventually to go back to Willoughby. Have another go, Josh. You were 51 out. Now you find yourself about 71 out. I don't know if that's working for the Bays.
Westie's got so many numbers in the hole. Lots of space in the pockets.
Willoughby just sets it up. Big pack at the back was Button. Bounced right away from him towards Beach, who had Munn, who had Bailey, and it turned back to Rowe, and Rowe decides he'll rush it. Smart play in the end. Bricknell looks to bring it out quickly and does so.
It's good discipline by Westies, and you know, the right move just to take the pressure off, release, and then reload.
Bailey on the outer side. Kicks to a pack again. Liebelt with a punch down. Here's an opportunity for Kane. Kane's handball to Button. Button's kick. Good vision. Saw Panozzo running into space. Running off the bench is Grimer. They haven't spotted him yet. No one spotted him. Grimer's going to get it here. He's just got to keep his eyes on the footy, and he does. He ran off the bench and into space. And Grimer, long way from goal, just decides to hoist it high. Hope for a mark. Up they fly. Murphy was there. Snap! Lovely goal. And that was kicked by Ruwalt. And the Bays get it. Well, he read that nicely, Mark Ruwalt. And lovely goal.
It's a wonderful crumb by Ruwalt. Todd Grimer coming onto the ground, sneaking down that wing, taking a good strong grab. And then what Glenelg haven't been able to do really over the last few minutes is move the ball quickly into the forward line. Nice long kick to a dangerous spot. Massive pack and very unlikely to take a grab there, but Ruwalt just in the right spot for a small coming forward, and the quick snap, the quick thinking. Ruwalt finished nicely, and Glenelg kicked the last couple and just putting a little bit more of a ascendancy in this game.
We're into time on. Second term, and it's Glenelg by 3 points. Ruwalt just putting them back in charge of the game. Button. Lobby tries to jump over him. Button takes the pressure. Bailey, though, with a centre clearance. Willits. Contest. Caruso. Tackle. Got away from one. On the left foot, the snap. Oh, we almost found Webb. Just carried too far for him. Kirk under pressure. Was calm. Liebelt. And then he went short to Button. And he's got running support, but he does the running himself. To Murphy. Murphy around one, did it pretty well. Kellogg, his disposal's been excellent. Kane can run to half forward. Kirkby on the lead. Kirkby has spotted up nicely, but he just couldn't pull it in. I thought the kick was a little better than it turned out. Rory Kirkby thought the same thing.
Again, that breeze just pushing that ball a little bit wider, but West Adelaide doing nicely to stay goal side, but also in sort of corridor side, I guess, of their opponents, pushing them to lead into those pockets.
Kirkby and Lobby, who could have infringed. Umpire calls play on. Rowe went out the back. That kick had to be excellent. It wasn't. Cracker under pressure, and he's gone. Surely wait on the umpire. Oh, in front of the goals, he thought not. Colin Rouston.
Do you think he would have paid that one, Neil, if it was up through the centre? Certainly dived on it, wrapped it in.
Lots of numbers there. Kirkby out of the pack. Bays get another one. Close to half-time. 9-point lead.
Well, Kirkby second for the day. A little bit of a blue, I guess, bit of push and shove, and a free kick, which is going Glenelg's way.
Yep, the ball will not return to the centre. And Grimer will take the free kick from the push and shove. So the key forwards in Kirkby and Grimer should have a couple between them, with the ball not being bounced back in the middle.
Ruwalt.
In fact, having said Grimer, yes, it's Ruwalt. So, needless to say, the Bays should have 2, and they get only 1-1 out of it.
Well, that is certainly a let-off for West Adelaide. It's a little bit of lack of discipline there. You see the grab, and umpires just love plucking one out. That was the free kick right there. It was Izard with the one over the shoulder on the pull down, and look, technically it's probably there, but at the end of the day, the umpires love to ping somebody in that sort of situation.
You'd have the jitters if Mark Ruwald had it. 11-18 coming into the game, so had plenty of shots for goal. He kicked plenty of points too. Hall inside. Ferguson one grab, couldn't take the second. They go in hard. Ruwald's there with Munn. Another ball up. Loose kick out from fullback by West Adelaide, just turning that ball back. And seen a little bit of that this afternoon. Kicking out wide. Good bounce by the umpire. Webb over the top. Izard just brought it back into the pack. Just a rolling scrum at the moment. Allen got it away. Willoughby curling it back. I think he's kicked the goal. Lovely kick by Josh Willoughby. We know he can kick a goal because he's booted 17 coming into the game. That's goal number 18 for the season, and the Bays are out to 16.
Well, that's what Glenelg have been able to do all year, really. They've been able to, when the game's tight, to just break it open in short bursts, and that's exactly what's happened. They've had 3 snap goals. You know, we take out that Ruwalt set shot where he missed, but 3 snap goals, and the ability for Glenelg to score quickly, to put the ball to the dangerous positions, and then get on top of those loose balls around the stoppages, and that's exactly what they've done, and opened up a pretty handy half-time lead.
Well, 3 goals in time on to the Bays, and they have a 16-point advantage. Button comes over the top. Izard working hard for his possessions. Webb, Silverlock was trapped immediately by Panozzo. Still it's play on. Langford trapped. We'll get another ball up. Webb tries to come around, but Button did the better of it. There was a free kick in there. It'll go the Bays' way to Kellogg. Been impressive, this lad. And that was 25 metres. Langford blocked Kellogg as he tried to play on. Just trying to block the hand pass, but of course he never retired outside the zone of 5 metres. So Kellogg long, and gee, they come 3 deep. Ball on the ground. Switched out nicely. Well, Rowe was in a bit of trouble. Cracker was good under pressure. Beach couldn't handle the bouncing ball. Now he does. Oh, and Beach doesn't do a good job with the ball once he gets it. Getting very close to saying beach ball there.
I thought you were Monty for it now. Waiting and waiting in anticipation. Boundary throw in. Neil ponders his next one. In Murphy. Now he's taken that out of the ruck, and he'll be pinged here. Murphy just fell in his lap, and once you grab that footy, you must do something with it, and they mobbed him. Lobby from half back. Goals at the 21, 23 and 25 minute mark for the Bays. They've seen them stretch a nice little handy lead out to 16 points. They led by 16 points at the 14-minute mark of the first, so it's as far as they've been able to get a break on West Adelaide. Greg Rowe punches long. Kirk was there, but Adlington just slid in and took the mark, so they're having trouble, West Adelaide, at the moment, penetrating that back half of Glenelg. Have really tightened up. Button on the outer side. Kicks long. It's a good kick too to Murphy. Now Murphy could duck around and play on. Goes on his left. It's a good kick. Grimer's hands are good. And he's paid the mark, if not the free kick. I think the umpire might have actually paid the mark. I didn't see that he motioned any infringement.
It was a good strong grab, and it was certainly controlled. The spoil came late, and look, that's really positive signs for Todd Grimer. We know he's coming back from that broken wrist, and therefore he, you know, to get those arms up strongly, to hold the ball strong, and take that spoil. Good encouraging side.
And He's having a tough time of it with his kicking at the moment. I don't think he's been doing much goal-kicking practice in the time that he's had his wrist problem, Ben. I'd just say that's gone out the window. Not a good kick by Grimer. Ball flicks over the top. Silverlock, who's been very lively. Handball over the top, Siren. West Adelaide through Langford. We're about to go forward, but it's half-time at Richmond Oval. It's a 16-point lead to the Tigers, 6-9-45. West Adelaide, 4-5-29.
Well, after a reasonably even, well, quarter and a half, Glenelg certainly came back then, and as we've said, they can score quickly, and that's exactly what they did. 3 quick goals to finish that term off with, and to score 3 goals against Westies, who are right in this game in time on, it certainly sets them up. So we're looking forward to a lively second half, a good second half. The Premiers, or minor Premiers, taking the lead at the moment.
Half-time at the Richmond Oval. Grandstand football. Glenelg by 16 points.
The world's first national park. 2 million acres of pure wilderness. Experience the majesty, the beauty, the wonder that is Yellowstone. A stunning 3-part series coming soon to ABC One.
I've been feeling a bit crook lately, and I heard this ad from the Heart Foundation that says if you have chest pains or any other problems, to get help. So I did. Turned out to be a clot, easily fixed, but it could have killed me.
Because of the Heart Foundation, my pup's alive today.
Please help the charity that can beat heart disease. Give to the Heart Foundation Door Knock Appeal this September.
Please, give from the heart.
A double album featuring the music that's inspired champions and carried the hopes and cheers of the crowd.
You're unbelievable.
From the iconic Down Under to a tribute to one of AFL's greats, to the soaring theme from Rocky. ABC Grandstand's great sporting songs and anthems will have you cheering for more. Available now from ABC shops, ABC centres, music retailers and online.
How much is that dog in the window?
The dogs are falling apart.
One with the waggly tail.
We are in effect breeding them to death.
They're loyal, loving, obedient and protective. They're man's best friend. Thursday, the investigation that shocked Britain.
What we've uncovered is the greatest animal welfare scandal of our time.
Pedigree dogs exposed. Thursday on ABC One.
15 seconds.
Rolling a sting.
I'm Joe O'Brien.
And I'm Virginia Trioli. Coming out to the lead 2 shot.
Stand by Washington, 30 seconds to your life cross.
Mark, good morning. Sport.
Big shout.
The Rangers started coming down here in Lismore.
A nice gag. It will spread showers.net.au/breakfast. Taking it.
Good to see they can still do burnouts in the wet. Investigation by the ABC Late Line program.
Sustenance. Real news in the morning. Weekdays from 6 a.m.
You do eat with your eyes a little bit, don't you?
For lovers of food, The Cook and the Chef, Wednesday.
Goals in time on are gold, and Glenelg grabbed 3 of them, and they lead by 16 points at half-time here at Richmond. Time to look at the under-18 competition. Close to finals, some important games last week. Here's what unfolded.
Kicking the early morning dew off the grass before the reserves at Richmond Oval, Westies handed the North Adelaide youngsters another thrashing. It's been an unbelievably tough season for the Roosters. With the Bloods confirmed finalists, they showed no mercy. Speaking of unbelievable, how about Westie's Josh Schiller? Josh collected 49 disposals. Say that again. Yes, 49 disposals and 15 marks, and delivered the ball into the forward 50 on 6 occasions. What a game. No doubt he slept well last Saturday night. Josh Farmer was also in good form. His 35 touches, though, were his last for the season, with Westies taking no chances with his sore shoulder. He underwent surgery to correct the problem this week. While the two Joshes were wandering around collecting possessions at will, North's Jake Keller was trying to stop the rot. His efforts bore little fruit for the Roosters as Westies won all 4 quarters. The Bloods snapped a 2-game losing streak by toweling up North Adelaide with the final margin 72 points. Like so many before them this season, the Bulldogs failed to beat one of the top 3 sides. This time the Dogs were unable to overcome a wayward Sturt team. The Double Blues were terrible in front of goals, keeping Centrals in the game by kicking 7-17, while the Dogs weren't all that more efficient as it turned out, finishing with 4-8. A win would have guaranteed the Pups a finals berth ahead of the Eagles, who have a last round bye. Now the Dogs have to beat Norwood to grab 5th spot. In this game, some familiar names battled hard to keep the Dogs in the contest, with David Hayden leading the way with 24 possessions and 7 marks. Nathan Trevina also performed strongly with a team-high 28 touches. Neither could match the effort of Sturt's Alex Wilson, though. A veteran of 2 campaigns for SA at the National Under-18 Championships, Alex amassed 46 disposals, made up of a very Sturt-like 16 kicks and 30 handballs. That was enough for him to earn the round's MVP award. Finals-bound Sturt led at every change to run out a comfortable winner by 27 points. Like Central District, the Eagles discovered firsthand just how hard it is to beat the top 3 sides. There was plenty on offer for the Eagles for a win, a guaranteed finals berth. Alas for their supporters, the Bays duly crushed that hope. The Eagles are still perched in 5th spot, but as I mentioned, they have a bye in round 23 and so will await the outcome of the Centrals clash with Norwood before their finals fate is decided. Against the Tigers, the Eagles had their wings clipped early, trailing by 4 goals at the first break. By half-time, the home side trailed by 8 goals, and although the Eagles enjoyed a good third quarter, the result wasn't in doubt. Brenton Lowry was given the nod as the Eagles' best as he picked up 13 kicks, 4 handballs and a goal, one of only 2 for the day kicked by Woodville West Torrens, while Brad Graham was also good with 18 possessions and 3 marks. Andrew Bradley was the Bays' best with 36 possessions, while Matthew Snook also racked up the touches with 38 of his own. The Bays overall collected 400 possessions, while limiting the Eagles to just 245. The Bays' 64-point victory confirmed them as minor premiers in the inaugural year of the Under-18 competition. Season 2009 has been a forgettable one for the Panthers, but the league side lifted the spirits with a thrilling win over Port last weekend. Alas, that result wasn't repeated in the Under-18s competition. While the Magpies are near bottom on the league ladder, their junior team will finish 2nd after the minor round and dealt out a reminder they'll be challenging for the premiership with a very solid effort against South. Port started with a 6-1 opening term to lead by 35 points, and although the Panthers performed a little better after that, there was no prospect of a win. For Port, Caleb Howell's effort was noted by coach Tony Bamford as he picked up 18 possessions and 2 goals, while round 3 MVP Tim Malira also was prominent with 3 majors among his 14 kicks. South's best was Chris Bradwell, rewarded for his straight kicking with 3 goals from 6 kicks. Port's major round preparations will start in round 23 against Sturt. It'll be somewhat of a cat and mouse game with the two sides destined to meet the following week in the qualifying final. The Magpies are well prepared after thumping South by 45 points.
So a quick look through those results from last week with West Adelaide by 72 points, Sturt by 27, Glenelg by a very comfortable 64 over the Eagles, who only kicked 2 goals, as we said, for the afternoon, and the Panthers getting beaten by 45 points by Port Adelaide. And of course, Norwood with the bye, which leaves after 22 rounds Glenelg, Port Sturt West and the Eagles, with Centrals just sitting off the pace in 6th spot at the moment. And on to the leading goal kickers, and Josh Trembath from Glenelg leading the way, 9-goal advantage over Lachlan Giles, so you'd think that Trembath will take away the prize for the leading goal kicker through the 23 rounds, as it will be when we look at it next week of the under-18 competition. The first time, of course, we've had an under-18 competition in South Australia. Well, now on to the rest of Australia when it comes to the senior competitions. It is finals time already in Tasmania, but places and jockeying for places in the finals up for grabs in the WAFL and the VFL as we go to what happened last week.
Swan Districts hosted ladder leaders South Fremantle in the final round of the Waffle home and away season, and the visitors got off to a flying start to boot the opening 3 goals of the match as Callum Wilson made it look easy. The Swans were finally able to get on the scoreboard late in the quarter through Justin Simpson, but the one-sided affair continued, the Bulldogs leading by 30 points at quarter time. South Fremantle continued to dominate possession in the second quarter, Paul Magumba again dangerous as he helped Chris Miller join the list of goal kickers, before Wilson waltzed in to kick his third. The Bulldogs booting 6 goals to 1 as they put on a clinic.
Jamie Graham has time to sun up the goals, and he shoots long and kicks it. Graham gets his second, 12 before half-time for Souths, and they lead by more than 10 goals.
The home crowd eventually had something to cheer about as Josh Roberts opened the scoring after the break, the Swans providing more of a contest as Ben Colreevy made it back-to-back majors. But the hard work came undone as Miller booted his second, South Fremantle slamming on 3 goals in a row to restore the 61-point lead. The Bulldogs regained their groove in the final quarter as Toby Bairstow found plenty of space and converted, before Andrew Seagate joined Wilson at the top of the goal kickers list.
He's had a goal-kicking afternoon, and he'll get his 4th.
The Bulldogs sending a strong warning ahead of the finals by recording a 63-point win. Colreevy leading the charge for the Swans with 3 goals, while Seagate and Wilson both booted 4 for the Bulldogs. In other round 23 matches, West Perth defeated the Lions by 7 points. Claremont went down to Perth by 2 points in a nail-biter. Peel were no match for the Sharks, while East Perth had the bye. So at the end of the home and away season, it was South Fremantle comfortably taking out the minor premiership from Subiaco and the Swans, with West Perth jumping into the 4 in the final round. There was heartbreak for East Perth, who finished 5th. Then it was Perth, the Sharks and Claremont, with Peel taking out the wooden spoon. Williamstown travelled to Port Melbourne in round 20 to face a Borough outfit that was chasing its 21st straight win at home, and was a streak that looked like remaining intact in the opening stages, the home side jumping out of the blocks.
Ends up with Batsanis, who started it all, and he kicks the goal.
But the Seagulls rallied, a goal to Matt Little and 2 more to Patrick Rose, seeing them within 7 points at the first change. Rose was again in the action early in the second, before Ryan McMahon finished off a brilliant length of the field run from Sam Dwyer to have the Borough up and about.
Ryan McMahon, can he cap it off? Yes, sir!
Williamstown again coming late to boot the last 3 for the term and go into the half with a 6-point lead. They broke the game apart in the opening stages of the third term. Dean Galea on fire to boot 2 in the first 2 minutes, and Little chipping in with another brilliant kick from the boundary and adding plenty with his strong work around the ground.
But he's under pressure. Wrapped up by Little. It was Dylan who was caught.
The Seagulls breaking out the party tricks as they kicked away to a handy 25-point lead at the last change. Brad Gotch called his men in close and urged them to keep the pressure on in the last.
The first 5 minutes is the most important. Come on, boy. We really put our foot down and we make a statement here today.
And they didn't disappoint, the Seagulls running away with it. Dylan Joyce everywhere as he booted an early major to put the result beyond doubt, before kicking truly late in the match to ice a memorable 7-goal win. Port simply outclassed in the end, McMahon's 3 goals the standout for them, while Rose impressed for the visitors with 4. In other round 20 action, Geelong were no match for Collingwood. North Ballarat cemented their grip on the minor premiership with a win over Sandringham. Jordan Lyle kicked 5 as the Hawks beat Casey in a thriller. Frankston was thrashed by the Bull Ants. Bendigo were no match for Werribee, and Coburg had the bye. To the ladder, and at the end of the home and away season, North Ballarat finished on top from Williamstown, with the Bull Ants and Port claiming the last of the double chances. Box Hill missed out on the 4 by percentage, followed by Casey and Collingwood, with the Cats rounding out the 8. Werribee were a game further back, followed by Sandringham, Coburg and Frankston, while it was a devastating season for the Bombers, winless in 2009 as they claimed the wooden spoon. Tough conditions greeted Clarence and North Hobart for their elimination final at Bellerive Oval, where the Kangaroos hadn't lost a match all season, Cameron Thurley giving them the early ascendancy. Ken Hall played the surprise role of full forward, and it paid dividends immediately.
Moves it on quickly. The kick is straight. The kick is long. The kick is a goal.
But Brad Dutton converted his chances to guide the Kangaroos to an 8-point lead at the first change. Coach Brett Gapin led from the front in the second quarter and extended the home side's lead.
He sets it up for Dutton, one-on-one with Lund. Lund in front. Bit of wrestling going on. It goes through for a goal.
Things going from bad to worse for the Demons as they struggled to clear their defensive 50, and Ben Setchell pounced to kick his second goal. Thurley having no problems from long range in the difficult conditions, getting the journey to kick his second and set up a 27-point break at half-time. The Demons' persistence created some luck after the break as Caden Wilson was able to reduce the margin, but the best goal kicker in the TSL was never far away, Dutton kicking his second major before Matthew Muir kept North Hobart's faint chances alive, reducing the margin to 33 just ahead of the last change. Any chance of a fight back in the final term was short-lived as Dutton again marked strongly and extended the Kangaroos' lead with his third goal. Clarence winners by 43 points and advancing to the semi-finals to take on Devonport. Dutton and Thurley finishing with 3 for the Roos, while they were all individual goal scorers for the Demons. In the second elimination final, Ben Reynolds booted 4 goals for Devonport as they ran out comfortable 37-point winners over Launceston.
Chris Thompson with our look at football around the country. We'll go back to the WAFL. Ben, and your mob, Subiaco, your old mob of Subiaco, looking a little bit in trouble.
Yeah, a little bit shaky at the end of the season there. They've certainly been good over the previous, 4 or 5 years. And to drop that game to West Perth, that meant that they lost, or they went to second spot, lost the chance of the minor premiership, and West Perth snuck in over East Perth, so unlucky for them.
Plenty to play for West Perth, obviously. Now we're back to Adelaide now, and the match here at the Richmond Oval, and so does at half-time. Bit of a problem for Ben Fisher and Westies.
Yeah, there is. Well, for West Adelaide, their last 5 or 8 minutes of that quarter was pretty costly. Glenelg just starting to opening up a bit of a gap there. But for Benny Fisher, well, we know that his courage can never, ever be questioned in the SANFL. He's had an absolutely sensational year, and just today we can see here, going back with the flight of the ball, a super courageous mark, which is his trademark. Just crunched the knee there and hit on the outside of the knee. The problem is he looks like he's strained a medial ligament, so he's gone for the rest of the year, of course, the rest of today, because that is their year. But he has had a magnificent season for the Bloods, but he is a bit of an injury concern for them. Of course, they are one man down, which could prove costly later in the game. And Benny Fisher, just one of a handful of Bloods that come from the deep end of football's gene pool. Of course, Ben's brother Sam, a star with St Kilda. We've also got Miles Cracker out on the ground for the Bloods. His uncle Jimmy and also his dad Phil were superstars with North Melbourne. Tommy Langford's in the side, and his brother Chris Langford played in 4 flags for the Hawthorn Hawks. Alan Izard played in a couple of flags for Essendon. His nephew, Jimmy Izard, is out on the deck. And just to round things off for the Bloods, Stephen Bailey's there, and his granddad, Laurie Kerr, is in Carlton's team of the century. So the genes flowing thick and fast for the Bloods.
Lots of fathers very happy with their genes being carried on too, I would have thought. Okay, let's look at, well, we spoke about Ben Fisher and the problems for Westies, but one of the good signs has been Matthew Martin up forward.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been such a dangerous target, I guess, for West Adelaide to go to, and time again they have. He kicked pretty much their entire, he did kick their entire score in the first quarter, and he's kicked 4 goals now. So he's kicked all 4 of the West Adelaide goals, and been a great target up forward. That one there doing the roving, as was the goal before that, with the fact that he won the free kick. But he's looked very, very dangerous. He's a big body and a wonderful footballer.
Look, at the end of the day, though, the class of the Tigers has shown, especially as we talked about in time on, with 3 goals late in the quarter, and that one was beautifully set up by Byron Murphy.
Well, it was a lovely kick by Kirkby, bring that ball back and do the team thing, as I'm sure Mark Micken has instilled in this team, as we've seen all year. Glenelg are a very disciplined unit, and they're good across the board. That was a wonderful centering kick. This one's the Rove, where ends up with the free kick and kicks his 4th. And look, it's you know, it was certainly a good quarter, but Glenelg, like you said, the cream rises to the top, so to speak, and they just did enough to hang in there. I don't think they panicked at all, and then towards the end, the ball kept going to the dangerous spots, as this one did from Grimer, and to get 3 snaps, 2 from a long kick in and 1 from a stoppage, it was all in injury time, so to speak. It was a wonderful way to finish the quarter for Glenelg.
Well, if we go what you said, with the cream, the Tigers are essentially big cats, and the cats love the cream.
Absolutely. Well, that's just beautifully put together. We see there with Martin being the only goal scorer and obviously kicking all 4 for the Bloods, and Kirkby the only multiple goal scorer for Glenelg.
6-9 plays 4-5 at half-time here at Richmond. Here's what the stats look like, and look, the efficiency, I suppose, of the Tigers is the thing. They're not efficient on the scoreboard, but around the ground they just have that little bit better performance than the Bloods.
Yes, that's right, Neil. They certainly picked up their stat count towards the end of that quarter. Their inside 50 is just astronomical. 28 inside 50s to 16. You'd really expect them to be 8 or 9 goals ahead at this stage, but Westies have been reasonably good to stop them down and push them wide. So that's why their efficiency at goal scoring hasn't been quite as good as maybe they'd like.
Okay, just about set for a start with the second half. The Little Leaguers just getting as quickly as they can off the ground, and there's a whole mob of them. They do it well here at, there's one of the dads who's getting a good shot of his slab on Father's Day, of course. They do it well here at Westies, and I think they do it well to Bays too. They give an opportunity for the Little League at one half of the ground. The other half, of course, turned over to the public. They have a little bit of a kick and a catch at half-time. Well, half-time's over. Players are back on the ground. Michael Maney's in position for the second half.
Yes, Neil, just waiting for the players to amble through and make their way into their positions. And I'd like to know why that dad has to do the filming. Why can't Mum be out there with the camera? It's supposed to be Father's Day, isn't it? So anyway, at least showing some interest in your kids, and that's really, really important. Brett Backwell there on screen. Looks like Lockie Button's going to start off the second half with Byron Murphy and young Kellogg on the bench. So it'll been a good debut, or not debut, it's been a good second game by Kellogg. I think he's been a pretty good player for them. About to go in this third quarter. Crowd hushed. All the music's died down. And we should have an excellent third quarter. Can Glenelg really break the game open and boot half a dozen quick goals and put it beyond doubt. Cranston down, Allen. Just can't quite get it away. The bounce in the centre. Good first half of football. 3 goals in 4 minutes in the second term. Really did the business for the Bays. They're 16 points up. Munn fed out nicely Silverlock to Cracker, who threw it on the boot. Bouncing ball. Well done by Webb. Taken by Lee Belt, and another stoppage. So we saw plenty of those last week, not too many today. It's been a pretty free-flowing game.
Something that West Adelaide done very well, Michael, is they've sat the extra number, and it's normally Cracker off the back of the pack. Every time they get a ball in close, in tight, through the stoppages, they know Cracker's there for the dish. So that's a good little ploy for West Adelaide.
Izard worked hard, and it ended up with Greg Rowe. Well, just clean bowls, about 7 of them, and then Burst couldn't even get a handle. Well done, Adlington. Finally got it to Mules, and then Mules just sits it up. Kane's got to wait and kept his eye on it, and Ben Kane taking a lovely mark. He's got a man in the middle in Willoughby. The kick might have been touched off the boot. Willoughby does some good evasive work and then dishes nicely to Ruwald, who's got to get rid of it quickly, and Backwell's in space outside 50. Real good kick to find Hall. That's his class from the number 2, the former Liston Trophy winner and also Magarey medalist. And here's Chris Hall, the former Port Adelaide Power listed player who played some games with South Adelaide, will line up on his left.
Yeah, it's really good use of the football going forward. Again, though, being pushed reasonably wide with the ball by West Adelaide, so be a tough shot, thinking the ball's going to travel right to left.
We know the very skilled player is Chris Hall, and that is a wonderful kick.
It's a beautiful finish by Chris Hall, and a lovely kick in the start that Glenelg wanted, and probably the start that West Adelaide didn't. West Adelaide pushed back in numbers, didn't quite work hard enough going forward, and therefore allowed a bit too much space. And anytime Brett Backwell's got his hands on the football and he's in 5 or 10 metres of space, he's going to use the ball very, very well. And to finish in Chris Hall's hands, as you said, Michael, just a lovely finisher, good skills, and a beautiful goal. And a good start to Glenelg for this quarter.
So back in the middle, and 22-point lead for the Bays. Izard working hard, so is Cracker. Little kick, got Rowe, got Izard, got Cracker again. Did the umpire call it a throw? Well, I'd like to see that on replay. I'm not convinced. I thought he snuck it out pretty well. Let's have another look. Oh, I think clearly a hand pass, but forgive the umpire. Every now and then they're allowed to make a mistake.
It was very unlucky, though, because they were streaming into an open goal, Westies.
So Mules delivers wide for Block, who's got Allen called out of it by Fisher. Fisher inside 50 and long. Kirkby the target. Big punch came from Ferguson. Back well there. So was Willoughby. Handed it across to McConnell, who gave it to Fisher, and Fisher misses badly to the near side.
Danger signs again for Westies. It's a little bit reminiscent of that first quarter where they just couldn't get their hands on the football. Glenelg, on the other hand, starting to really show some dominance around the stoppages, getting some space, and their important smaller players really starting to come into this game.
A couple of behinds to Adam Fisher. Holds well in the McGarry too, Adam Fisher, doesn't
start of each of these first three quarters, isn't it, Michael? The 2 or 3 points to the team going to the right of screen.
Yeah, dead right. Pack. Kirkby stood up in it. Munn bobbed up with the footy, and then Mules read it so well. Burst couldn't quite get there. Lovely kick to Panozzo. This is where they've been okay to find targets. Panozzo normally delivers well, and presenting well is the man who kicked the last score in Fisher. Panozzo kept on running. West Adelaide on the big flood. They've pushed back. A lot of numbers. Big punch away. Bricknell read it well. Then measured the kick nicely to Munn. Running off was Anderson, but Munn just holds on and decides to look down to a bit of tall timber. Webb and Lobby. Liebelt with the spoil and then roved the ball, which was terrific work. Allen trying desperately to get it out to Liebelt, but Lobby's saying, you're going nowhere. And another ball up. 52 plays 29, and the crowd in, enjoying a lovely afternoon of the football at Richmond Oaks.
Mark Soderstrom called early, saying there were forecast showers, but he didn't think we were going to see them. Certainly doesn't look like it at the moment. Certainly doesn't look like a Westies win either, just quietly.
Who's that bloke who works on the Weather Channel? I reckon Soders has got him covered. Dick Whittington or something?
Well, contest won by Hall in the end. Quickly out to Panozzo. On the boot quickly. Target Grimer. Took it well. Grimer will look up. He'll have the option of Kirkby. He goes to him, and Kirkby just lost his feet at the vital time. Justin McConnell there with the hand up saying, look, 20 metres from goal was the place to go, not the pocket. So the Bay's pushing hard. Westies desperately trying to hang on in this contest. Rowe nicely through the pack. That was Greg Rowe, and then Cracker. And now Munn, support from Langford. Nothing much to go to. Did pretty well to create some space for himself, and now a bit of a run. Down the line, he can go for Martin on the leader. Strong hand, stopped the ball dead.
No one forward.
Now Langford, and wide for Bailey, and as you suggest, nobody forward, so Bailey's going to have to come back inside and buy some time. He doesn't. Instead, he goes high. They'll have to come late. He's did come late. Created the contest. Mules, the skipper for the Bays. Panozzo, then wide for Backwell. He's steadied down the line. Fisher running hard is Hall. He's on his left foot. You think he'd swing around and try to move it quickly. Instead, he's held up. Kerr moves back into that space where the lead will come from, and so that forces Hall to go backwards to Backwell. Backwell says lead across. They haven't done it. He goes short to Fisher. And now Hall again. And inside 50 he goes, sets it up for Kirkby. Long arm comes across from Ferguson. Kirkby on the snap. And he's only going to, no, he's not even going to sneak it in for the minor score. He sneaks it out for out on the full.
Again, as you mentioned so well, Neil, Kerr came back into that hole very, very quickly. So not a candle for a player, but just pushing into that hole. Therefore, again, Glenelg going forward, but having to go really wide.
Looks like Rowe is in some space. This is Greg Rowe. Okay today. Into Cracker, who's had his fair share of the football, and Munn, who's racked up the touches in this third term. Well, the handball to Langford was not his best work, and Mule's got a free kick. Is it coming back? It is. And he was infringed upon. And Ben Mules, the skipper. Outstanding player. A couple of interchanges there for West Adelaide. Rotations with Caruso and Beach coming back on. Fisher, 4th or 5th touch in this quarter. He's been quite prominent. But West Adelaide are just playing this flooding game where they've pushed a lot of numbers back and trying to get man on man. Creating some space was McConnell just outside forward 50. Hasn't had too much of it, Justin McConnell. He's spent a little bit of time on the bench.
It's 8 possessions for Adam Fisher this quarter, Michael. 17 for the game.
Yeah, a big start to this third term. McConnell's going to get the hurry up from the umpire in a moment. He's a clever player. In short, that's good work. And presenting well is Ruwald. He just waited McConnell and his wonderful skills by foot just hit up Ruwald on the lead.
It was really good use by McConnell. He waited and waited and waited and saw the big timber of Westies had gone again back in to fill that hole up. Rather than just bombing and hitting and hoping, he hit the spot-up kick, and it was a really good option.
12 goals, 19 this season. Mark
You
Ruwald.
mentioned it before, didn't you, with the set shot.
Let's have a look
the
at this.
confidence of the man to go back and actually put this one through.
Loves the snapshots, Mark Ruwald, but he struggled a bit. Here he is. He'll boot from about 47. He set it out to the right. And he's missed another one. 24 points the difference in favour of the Bucks.
Well, you just sense at the moment that Glenelg are just really starting to warm up, and Westies need to do something. They need to get their hands on the football. They need to run the ball a little bit better through the centre. They've coughed it up a couple of times, going, long to contests, maybe outnumbered, and also Simon Munn that last time running forward with the handball and missing the target. So Westies just need to control the ball a little bit better going forward. Go back to what they were playing through the start of that second quarter.
Caruso to Bailey. That was a bare 15, and maybe not. But the umpire paid it. Now Bailey short. Munn. Again, they're just playing with fire at the moment, Westies. They try and fashion a way to get through the centre corridor. They won't do it at the moment. And now Munn will be called to play on with support out the back from Thompson. Thompson decides to take them on with a long kick. Goes for Izard. Players come back and collision almost there with Ferguson, one of them for Westies. Now Willoughby was good. Mules can swing it out the back to Kirk. He opts to hold it. Now he's round the man on the mark and away he goes. Down to centre half forward Long. Ferguson, too good for Kirkby that time, read the ball best. Now he looks to square it and thinks better of it. Burst leads up for him. Ignores that, then goes wide. Couple of players early. Webb came late. Silverlock did pretty well. They've got numbers in the corridor this time. Izard turned around through the dummy. Kick was long for Martin. Should take it. Gee, I thought he was in good position. He can rove his own ball. Go to the goal face with a hand pass. It sat up a bit. Langford just couldn't get a handle on it. Panozzo was too good. Panozzo's hand pass wasn't great though. Willett stood up. Chance for Caruso. He's a very, very good snap at goal. No exception. Gee, it was labour intensive, but they got there in the end.
Certainly was labour intensive. It was, just a lot of pressure around the footy. Glenelg doing quite well without too many numbers back there. Langford fell over and maybe we thought Glenelg were going to clear it, but again, it's just the handball to miss. Willetts with a strong body, enough strength in the legs to hold himself up, dish the handball off, and just a wonderful snap by Caruso. It was a quality snap under pressure from a couple of players coming in different directions, and just the one that West Adelaide needed.
West Adelaide get their 5th, and they've got their 2nd goal kicker. Martin's booted 4 and Caruso being the other.
I was surprised that Martin dished that one off in the first place. I thought he would have turned and had a snap.
Well, the handball was on, but just a little bit too high for Langford, and he actually didn't do a bad job in trying to hold it in the area, but Glenelg couldn't clear it, and Caruso was right onto it. Ball in the middle. Silverlock, I've liked his game today. Date Silverlock seems to be very, very skilled player and has involved himself in the game a fair bit today. His hands have been really quite good.
Smart with Fisher. He's gone back. Oh, I was going to say he's gone back to draw Cracker out, but Cracker still managing to get a hold of the footy.
Well, he got it to Caruso, and the crowd called ball, but it ends up with Allen. Allen with a drilling pass, looking for Kirkby. Couldn't take it. Munn went to ground, then foxed it back to Thompson with a little underground kick on the bounce to Silverlock, the man we were speaking of a moment ago. He's kicked to the bootlaces of Langford, who's got to really get...
hold it in.
And hold it in here, and he did. And Lucas Block said, why is that not a free kick? But the umpires haven't paid too many of them today.
No, and again, the defensive few of West Adelaide doing well. Thompson's been great. Ferguson and Munn there combining, both really doing a great job, and certainly in the rebound as well.
Free kick to Pinozzo, advantage taken by Kane, who got it to Fisher. Now Fisher kicks long, Kirkby, Grimer in the middle of that. Oh, the roving, brilliant. Oh, he'll hook it back for a snap goal, don't you worry. Ruwalt, he loves those. Give me a standing start and I'll make a mess of it, but give me a snap and I'll win you every time.
Well, again, just being in a wonderful spot there. The kick came in long. It was right to the dangerous location. You see the space in front of the contest. A good jump by Grimer, and numbers there for Glenelg, and a wonderful snap after missing a couple of set shots. They're certainly the ones he likes getting, and Ruwalt making no mistake of his second good crumbing snap of the day.
Mark Ruwalt, former reserves best and fairest winner with the Bays. I've actually got Luke Pinozzo. No, he wasn't. There's another couple of players. Lucas Block is one of them in their side. They've got a history of coming through the reserves, getting best and fairest, and then they advance into the league side and play a big part. Here's Fisher. He's got a league best and fairest to his name. Back in 2005, goes long to the goal face, dangerous. Beach with support from Kerr. Kick has to be good. Bailey, he can run on. He's got support from Bricknell. Loves a bounce. Away he goes. Inside. Gregorio, outside again to Cracker, or is it Silverlock? It's the latter. Silverlock's kick was a beauty to Martin leading up, straight and hard. And Martin goes for Willits. Gee, that was a good kick as well, low and hard. Roved by Kerr, off he went with the hands to Langford, slipped it away to Munn. Umpire will ball it up.
Again, they look good, don't they, West Adelaide, when they actually run the ball and transition from half back with a bit of space. Really good use through the centre, and just a lovely kick coming into the forward 50.
Willits over the top, couple of rovers there. One of them was Rowe, and Rowe kicks a beautiful snap goal. Well, he had Caruso there, or Rowe, and in the end, it was Greg Rowe who kicked the goal for Westies, and that's how to do it.
Well done, Gregory. A lovely goal, a great right foot snap, and again, West Adelaide, they look good when they've got space. We see the read off the crumb, off the hands there. Greg Rowe, a wonderful finish, and he certainly has been getting a bit of the football today and getting amongst it. So it's good to see West Adelaide pushing forward.
I want to ask you a question, Ben.
Yes, Michael.
Todd Grimer just doesn't want to get on the lead. Martin has got on the lead and has looked terrific. Grimer's just finding his way back from an injury. Just calls for the ball long, just not getting on the lead. The Bays are getting plenty through the midfield. Martin on the lead, 4 goals. Grimer hasn't booted one, won't lead.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the fact that West Adelaide are putting so many numbers back into that hole, it means that often Glenelg are going long and high. But you're right, Grimer hasn't led with any real, I guess, real speed, and he hasn't been able to find space with that speed, whereas we go at the other end. And Martin, every time it's going forward, Westies are leaving almost the whole forward 50 for him, and Glenelg are allowing them to do that. So,
well, it's obviously in the game plan. Spinning out was Bricknell. Kerr to Thompson. Thompson fed it to Cracker's got to get round a couple. Got a high tackle, I thought. No free kick either way. Thompson, how did he get rid of that? Did he get rid of that? Was it ball? Just kept at it. Block, toe poked it. Ferguson. Nicely to Langford. Oh, a little fumble. You can't fumble in this game or they'll have you. Willoughby, courage. So too with the other man going the other way, Jeremy Rowe. Ball flicked out. Adlington, was that too high? Langford doesn't like it. And the Glenelg crowd said, it's about time we got a free kick. Well, a couple of fumbles. Tom Langford, there's a courage from Willoughby.
Tell you what, I'm glad those boys missed each other because both had their heads over the footy, and that would have been very, very ugly if that had happened, if that had come off. But yeah, good pressure again by Westies, but just a little bit lazy with the tackle, Langford.
Coming back from a hamstring injury, Adlington. He's given that a bit of a ride around the corner. That's a lovely kick. Well, he's only booted a couple of goals before today in the season, Adlington, but that is a lovely kick. He just measured it so nicely, right to left. Good kick.
A lovely kick. We've seen a lot of the balls travel from that right to left with that breeze today. We see the hands coming over. That luckily missed, and then just the little one here over the top of the shoulder, the little right arm around the back of the neck, and a lovely finish by Adlington for his 3rd goal in league footy in his 21 games.
Ian Mogridge, refresh my memory, I think it was 8 free kicks to 1 in favour of Westies in the opening quarter, is that right?
Yep, that's right, it was. And Glenelg fought back in that regard, haven't they?
Yes. 9 free kicks to 3 since then in favour of the Bays. I wonder if the umpires know the stats. So overall...
I bet the umpires coach just had a little word in the ear in quarter time.
Bays win it away from the stoppage again. Pinozzo's hand pass to Kane, who is high kick. They've got some numbers though, Westies in defence. That's not the first time this afternoon we've said that. Care wide, too much pace for Grimer. Now Silverlock with support again. Thompson. Anderson needs to get rid of it. Good support again. Cracker, vision was good. Excellent disposal. Running wide is Lobby to the left of Willits, who spots him and says, no, I'll go long. Long he goes. Gee, they want to kick a goal out of this. You'd feel a mug if you were Willits.
Great tackle.
Button, he's caught. The umpire called play on. Anderson, goal. Correct decision, Ryan Willits.
Well, the big man, Lobby, would he be a little bit disappointed he didn't get the receive there, though, I think. A wonderful contest again. Caruso's looked so dangerous, and then laid, after that great contest, to lay that second tackle. That was the difference there, the real pressure from Caruso, and then Anderson getting a little handball through. A good finish, but, oh, Lobby, I think he'd be absolutely wrong, he wouldn't get that little use.
And weren't we poised, ready to give it to him as well?
Ryan Willett's pretty keen to have a kick. That was his first.
Oh, OK. Well, there's a method in his madness, and I'll tell you what. Anderson snapping the goal, brought it back to 18 points at least. And Willits goes into the ruck, and then Button steered it out of there. Lovely handball. Fisher, back to Murphy. Murphy's kick, looking for and finding Backwell. That's a strong mark from the man they call the Mighty Mouse. And he'll go back and look at a shot from 35. It's all right for a bloke who's had one of his fingers cut off.
Yeah, lovely grab, but it was the kick as well that went across. Went to the fat side, gave the space for Brett Backwell to move into, and it was a lovely kick coming in.
They're going goal for goal at the moment. This to take it back to 24. Backwell's kick is right through the middle.
Well, good quality take. The Glenelg supporters starting to really fire up there. They're coming through again. A lovely, lovely take. And great use by Murphy. And you see that kick going to the fat side. No defenders there. He's kicked it across the top of those West Adelaide defenders who are filling the gap. And Backwell making no mistake with the kick. A good, quick answer from the goal that West Adelaide had at the other end. And Glenelg just keeping that margin at the 3-4 goal mark, and just happy there, I think.
It's waxed and waned this quarter, hasn't it? From 24 back to 18, back to 24 as the Bays kick a goal. Willits this time with the tap down. Toe poke came from Bailey. Anderson opposed to Murphy. Gee, that bouncing ball hard to get a handle on. Eventually Murphy did it pretty well. Kane for Fisher. Run down by Izard. Allen. And then wide for Kane again with a burst of pace towards half forward. Off the left foot he goes high to the goal face, just put off. Thompson couldn't take it. There was a duck in there and now a high tackle. Liebelt was high on Kerr. So Daniel Kerr switches for Langford. Langford will stay on this side of the ground. This kick has to be good, and it was. Cracker took a strong mark. Back through the corridor, he'll have a glance. Nothing available. Now it is Willits. We know he's a long kick. We know he's had a kick. This time he has another. Silverlock was the man he went for. Caruso almost with the rove. And then he dived back in there and the umpire calls for the ball up.
Caruso certainly looks lively when he gets around the footy. He's, you know, he just gets in and under, and he's really trying to spark the West Adelaide forward line.
Button for Fisher, who is held. He'll come back and take a free kick. No, he won't. It's play on advantage to Allen. Long to the goal face. Liebelt. 15 metres out. Gee, that was an advantage.
Well, we keep calling, or you keep calling the names, you know, Fisher and Allen and the likes of these guys who are just getting so much of the footy. Kane's another one getting it through the centre at the moment for Glenelg, and the West Adelaide rotations, maybe they need to come a little bit thicker and faster, because at the moment the Glenelg on balls are really starting to tear them up.
Liebel to break that 24-point margin, and he does so. And now it's a 30-point game in favour of the Bays.
Well, West Adelaide have been hanging in there, but at the same time, Glenelg just doing enough. We see again from the stoppage. I mean, that was a great advantage played by the umpire, and it certainly was to the advantage of the Glenelg team. And Ferguson there just being caught out because the ball moved so quickly. But the ball could get over the top of that West Adelaide defence. But this is where West Adelaide need to really get their hands on the footy. They need to go man on man through the stoppage, try and get their hands on it, clear the ball forward with a quick kick, and try and arrest this sloping slide, I guess, that the scoreline's heading down.
Yeah, straight 5 goals the difference now, and Langford tackled by McConnell. McConnell hasn't had too many possessions this afternoon. Ian Mogridge, Justin McConnell.
Just the 2. I don't know, he didn't have any in the first half, but I don't think he had too much game time either.
Justin McConnell now has just been put up onto the wing, so try and Mark Micken to get him into the game a bit more.
Booted 4 against the Eagles last week, McConnell. Here he is on cue, over the football. Smart hands to Mills, back away to Mills. He hasn't had too much of it either. Wade Mills will get another break in play in a moment and get Ian onto that. Here's an opportunity for Beach. Fed it out to Burst. Burst just a fumble. Couple of fumbles. Now he's tackled. Which way does the umpire set? No, he says that's okay. Ball held to Shane Burst. Just doesn't look as if he's right on his game at the moment. Shane Burst, he's had his problems this year. Cranston down, roved by Greg Rowe. In front, Anderson, who kicked that lovely goal a few moments ago. He's had his injury problems too, Anderson. Kicks long, he's kicked to a big pack. Webb came 3 deep, couldn't take the mark. Kirk below his knees, but only got it as far as Bailey. Bailey just pushes off, then got tackled, and then another free kick against Langford for a high one. And he does a bit of that, Tom Langford, just didn't quite get low enough, and Adlington is the recipient.
Adlington short and wide, he goes for Panozzo. Panozzo takes his time. Bay's a little bit more methodical this time with the build-up.
23 possessions for Panozzo, most on the ground.
Lead up was Ben Mules, so Panozzo and Mules, the former schoolmates from down in the southeast, combine, and now Adlington can square it. Willoughby in a lot of space, can afford that fumble and run on. Oh, don't know if he could have afforded that fumble. Put himself under unnecessary pressure, but gee, the kick was good to half forward. And now he follows up, and on his non-preferred, belts it inside 50 badly. Bricknell breaks a tackle. Away he goes. He thought about a bounce, I'm sure. Caruso through the middle. Langford, Caruso. And another one's on. Over the top they go. And now Kerr, or Anderson it is, inside 50. Martin was a target. Oh no, Kirk did pretty well. Martin went to ground. So Kirk goes wide for Panozzo again, and will start the chain yet again.
Interesting for the young man there, Martin. He actually stopped and propped and waited for the body and really tried to get the body. Whereas if he just kept running forward, he had half a metre. He just had to get the hands up and take the grab.
He also had some words of advice for the umpires. Button to Kellogg.
Shepherd.
And a Shepherd in there, is there? Free kick. It's going to Daniel Kerr. And a lot of thanks must go to Anderson for wearing white boots, because Kerr and Anderson sometimes look very much alike. Langford into Izard. 3/4 time. That term only going 26.5 minutes. But, well, Glenelg pretty well in that quarter, booting 5 goals to 3. And it's 3/4 time. The Bays 11-77. West Adelaide 7-5-47. It's a straight 5 goals. Been a pretty good quarter of football, that.
Certainly was a good quarter of football. West Adelaide certainly aren't out of this game, but at the same time, Glenelg just doing enough to maintain their ascendancy and really look in control of this game without taking it to any substantial heights.
No, and you would say, though, a good quarter in that they've won it, but as you say, nothing flashy or fancy about the way the Bays have done it. They will, of course, have next week off. So, gee, for me, there's a little bit of a question mark about their abilities going into the major round. They just don't look up for it just at the moment, but that's understandable. Psychologically, round 23 doesn't mean much to them. Certainly, in the third quarter, 5 goals to 3. Chris Hall started it, of course, very early on in the second minute, just to take a half-time lead of 16 points out to 22 straight away.
Yeah, that's right. Backhaul spotted up Hall, and he went back and made no mistake. And really, West Adelaide, if they're going to get themselves back into this game, need to kick the first couple of goals of the quarter. We see this big man who's played so well for West Adelaide giving a little handball over the top, and this resulted in a West Adelaide goal, be it a little bit scrappily. But at the same time, it's, look, from Glenelg's point of view, to go into next week with a week off, knowing they're minor premiers, and to have this game, it's almost a game where they'd probably prefer just to say, look, give us a bye or give us a week off. Let's not worry about it. We'll go take our players into a couple of weeks' time without any injuries, without any concerns, and freshen everyone up. So it is a tough situation for Glenelg, just as much as it is West Adelaide with nothing to play for today. And at the same time, they're doing enough without showing any real sort of flash and brilliance. They're certainly doing enough to get the job done.
We talked at the start of the day about prospects of the sides in the bottom 4, the ones that have missed out on the finals. Westies, Port Adelaide, South Adelaide, Norwood. You thought Norwood would improve. Westies, can they get to the finals next year on what we've seen this afternoon against a finalist?
Well, I think they can, and considering the fact that it is round 23 and there isn't anything to play for, they're still putting up a fight. They've got some quality players. I think their defence is really strong. I've been really impressed with their defenders back there, and they're actually the way they're working together. Up forward, I think they still need probably an extra a couple of good key forwards to go with Willits and also the young man in Martin. But that's perhaps where West Adelaide need to just improve a little bit.
Yeah, Martin with 4 goals this afternoon. Backrell, Ruwalt and Kirkby with 2 each, the multiple goal kickers for the sides, with the Bays leading by 30 points at three-quarter time. That's what the stats look like to the moment.
Inside 50s, obviously Glenelg absolutely smashing West Adelaide there, and just being forced wide, not making the most of their forward opportunities.
Let's go back in history now to 1990 for those of you who were in South Australia. Quite a watershed year, of course, with the Crows entering the competition in 1991, the AFL competition. Westies and the Bays, well, they've only had 2 draws in their history. One of them was in round 7, 1990. And thanks to Channel 9 for this vision of what was an excellent clash at the Bay Oval.
Melican, a big one. On the half-forward left flank, Melican to put the Bays right into attack again. He puts it up for grabs. Asendrel, Christie in front, McDermott through, and he goes! A brilliant goal to Bone. Poochie's first, the Bays right back in the fight.
West Adelaide have 3 wins and 3 losses. And a big win last week over Port Adelaide. They're in again with a charge. Thompson sends them in. They set themselves. Patterson to ground. Round the corner, Marshall! He's put us through the game to draw here. The crowd go up their plate here at Glenelg. What a game, what a fight back by the Bays.
And then it's even Steven, 118 points apiece.
Well, I reckon football's not alive here in South Australia. It should be in this stand. Murray, the next scorer will probably win. Hogg stays over the ball. It's a free kick to West Adelaide. Chigwidden there. They need to block it up now, the Bays.
Rocky, there's 5 minutes of time on. There's a chance on that draw you're talking about.
Big chance. It'd pay well too. West Adelaide players lead for Hogg. He's decided just to put it in long. They set themselves. McKinnon, the Bays didn't even go. Grosser shepherded out Gibbs, and that's why there's a free kick. It was there, and it's a 50-metre penalty against Grosser. Wasn't deliberate. He's not that silly. Gibbs was smart enough to walk forward and let the ball go underneath him. Umpire Trimbath didn't see that, and consequently Gibbs has got 50 metres.
Oh, no, Neville, the way Ross Gibbs kicks a football with a spiral punt, he could kick the distance from here. He doesn't need a goal. He needs a score, and wind assisted, I reckon that's what he intends to do. 31 minutes gone.
Well, Gibbs has got to hurry up with it. I'd be looking for a short kick. A long torpedo, I disagrees with the kick. He'll put it in long though. Just shocking kick. It's off the side. O'Donoghue underneath it. Hogg is there. Murray's there. Nichols. Winton. They're out of trouble, West Adelaide. Can they hang on to it? Bad kick. McDermott's got it. He's put the ground. No free kick. Players dive on it. There'll be a bounce. And wrong choice, Ross Gibbs. It's either a drop punt to the front of the square. He's got Christie up there. He's got Rovers at the fall of the pack. They needed the ball in the goal square.
32 minutes gone. Here's a chance now for West Adelaide. They can't find the football as they go to the line. Ravisi down, Jigwedden in, but it's a throw in. 32 minutes gone. It's a tied ball game at Brighton Road, and the crowd can't believe it. The Bays have come from nowhere to get back in it. Siren sounds! It's a draw. What an unbelievable game of football.
118 points apiece at the Bay in 1990, and of course the Bloods missed the finals that year. The Tigers went on to play Port Adelaide in the grand final, and of course Port Adelaide getting over the top of the Bays on a big afternoon at Football Park, which of course followed all the controversy of Port Adelaide trying to enter the AFL, and of course the Crows were born out of that. Well, back to today, and so does a considerably smaller crowd, but still a lot of interest in the Bays fans this afternoon.
Yeah, look, they're travelling nicely. They're going to finish minor premier, we know that. So what Mark Micken has asked them to do in this final term is just to really concentrate on the hard things. That's their tackles, their spoils, their shepherds. Highlighted some of the work of youngster Jared Kellogg. Thought he's been good in that particular area, so he wants them just to boost that up a little bit. The other things he talked about is the ascendancy at the stoppages. Really feels that Glenelg have that now, probably off the back of a lot of the work of Adam Fisher. And Daniel Kirk is wearing a GPS system today, so if you're wondering what sort of K's a big centre-half back doing a bit of ruck work covers, to three-quarter time he's done 8.6 kilometres.
Thanks for that. Soda's just about set for the start of the final quarter. Here's Michael Maney.
Neil, tell me what hasn't changed since 1990 till season 2009 for the Bays.
A few players, a lot of mullets, and
one thing that has changed are the shorts, but the one thing that hasn't changed: 16 goals, 22.
And they still haven't won a premiership. Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, I wouldn't want to cut that deep. Fourth quarter, the final term. Panozzo out looking for Murphy, and they're just warming up for September. They get a rest next week, the Bays. Murphy down the line. Kirkby just slipped over and then got a push on the way down from Burse. Kirkby wheels onto that left boot. Ball's in there. No one can take the mark. Bricknell needs to use Jeremy Rowe, who wants the line. He's used that a couple of times so far.
Third rush behind of Jeremy Rowe.
I think that one though was more rushed than
than just taken over. That's right.
Westies need a couple of goals quickly in order to build some confidence and maybe an assault on Glenelg's lead. Numbers there. Webb just ducked out of it. Kane with the rove. Allen inboard. Rare kick for Allen. Prefers the hand pass. Long he goes, and again pinched for a push.
Grimer
in for a push. Todd Grimer will surrender the ball to Thompson, who was his master in the opening quarter. Old habits die hard. Anderson down this wing has given him a lead, and that's where he goes. Nothing though for Anderson down the line. Izard makes a strong run. Gee, he worked hard for that. Good 60 or 70 metre run by James Izard. The kick perhaps from fatigue just dropped a little short. Cracker. Nobody inside forward 50 except Webb. He has to go wide. He goes to Bailey, who's worked hard into forward 50. Ball bounces briefly, then comes out again. He can go back to Beach. Oh, this kick has to be good too. Webb let down by the kick perhaps. Bays do have some numbers back there. Kirk goes outside 50 to Kane, who in turn has Willoughby. Bays lining up further afield. Kellogg is free if he turns and sees him, and he does. So Kellogg will go wide to Kane, and he'll send the Bays inside forward 50.
Kane just assessing, goes in short and finds Murphy. In fact, it's Fisher. Didn't quite get the glasses up quick enough. Fisher just waits. Westies get back in numbers and try and block some holes. They can't block it as Kellogg has got it again. Been impressed with him. Left footer, high, pack, lobby, hands on it. Just spills over the back. Jeremy Rowe, Thompson. Just gets better with every game, Thompson. Squeezed the kick out.
looking for Silverlock. The 234s. Mules just lost possession. Silverlock did okay. In goes Cranston. It spills to Allen. Allen's kick. Murphy's getting back. The body on body. Thumped away. Here's the row from Ruwalt. Oh, too high. And this automatically poses a problem for Ruwalt.
I was going to say, it's better for Stephen Bailey to do that, give him a set shot, than let him run around and have a snap. That'd be the equivalent of a foul in basketball as you're going to the hoop. Yeah, the free throw.
Yes. In foul trouble, West Adelaide.
But, a bit disappointing for Westies, though, isn't it? You know, for Glenelg to bring the footy back down when they had such space up the other end, and McCracker's kick just missing Bailey, and then Bailey, unfortunately, sort of doing the 360 to turn back inside rather than just taking and going and using the free man up forward.
I think Bailey needed the GPS tracker there to be able to spot Webb. Here's Ruwalt. Oh, is he going to silence his critics? I think he did. He's booted his third. And the Bays are out by 37. He gets a bit of a monkey off the back. The Bays fans are happy. And when you've got a midfielder who works hard and kicks goals, that's terrific, Ben, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's what Glenelg have. They have a plethora of really good, hard-working, hard-running midfielders. And, you know, you consider the fact that Meyer and perhaps even Richard Douglas, even though he played so well last Friday for the Crows, they may come back into this team in a couple of weeks. It's sort of, you know, it really augurs well for Glenelg and their finals assault. All I'll say about ridding Ruwalt of the critics, they still criticise Shaquille O'Neal, the old hacker Shaq, and they just foul him once he was in the paint. I don't know if he's got over the yips yet, Ruwalt. Tell you what Glenelg have, though. They've just got players running forward at the moment. Fisher waiting, Hall trying to lead, but Fisher in the end looks like he's decided to pull up, wait, and have a shot at goal. He's had such a good second half, Fisher. He's managed to find plenty of space off the half-forward line. He didn't think he could make the distance, so off to Panozzo, who cracks it long, and he misses by maybe a metre, and that's a rush behind as well. Gee, Rowe is just finding some ways to do it, isn't he? I think that's 4 for the afternoon, 2 which were... One of the leading goal scorers for Westies. 2 of them were classic. So actually, Adelaide United's looking for a goal scorer at the moment, but... Rowe has got some classic ways of rushing the ball.
Neil, I think part of his match preparation for today was to watch the 2008 Grand Final in the AFL.
Hey, let's not start bagging Hawthorn on their tactics. You've been watching that week in, week out, Michael, and I'm sure the Knights is prepared to watch it with you.
No, well, we get together, we have seminars. There's Cracker. Just booting out, looking for Martin, who hasn't kicked the goal for a while. Here's the nippy Caruso, right on the line. Just dribbles it away, and it runs out of play.
So I guess the story now is what will happen for the rest of this quarter. Will West Adelaide really go into their shells, shut up shop, and head home for the long wait, I guess, until next season? Or will they keep going and keep trying to put their best foot forward? I'm a little bit concerned that Westies will really just shut up shop here.
Let's hope they don't. Caruso's half-distance kick. Langford, snap, drawing it back. It won't draw back enough. It's a behind. 37 points, the margin in favour of the Bays. You'd like to see them really push hard and try and kick as many goals in this last quarter as they could and finish off on at least a good high-scoring note.
Would. Absolutely, Michael. And Westies have improved again this year, and no doubt will be looking for another big pre-season. Maybe a couple of extra of their juniors to come up, and perhaps a recruit or two, and you never know. Hopefully they can push for a final spot next year. Well, they win this afternoon. It's the best minor round the Bays have had under Mark Micken. It's by far the best minor round the Westies have enjoyed under Andy Collins. They've risen from 2 wins last season to have 7 at the moment this season. Bays breaking towards forward 50. Kellogg drops it in short. Hall from behind at to spoil. Kellogg was aware he had Murphy, who was aware he had Willoughby to open goal. Another one for the Bays. See, now it's starting to look like a finals warm-up for the Tigers. Absolutely. I mean, they're just rolling through, and I'm sure if you ask any of those Tigers players and the Tigers coaching staff, they'd like to you know, blow the siren early, get home, ice up, get themselves ready for a couple of weeks. But at the same time, the best thing they can get out of this is really to run the game out. It was a bit of an arm wrestle, I guess, in the first half. But to finish strongly like they are, it's you know, it's looking good for them in a couple of weeks, considering the fact they've got next week off. They're getting some match time and some game time in the likes of Grimer, who hasn't played in the last month. So a lot of positives coming out of this for Glenelg.
43 points the margin now. Izard, who never stops trying. Silverlock, whose game as a pointer to next year will be terrific for him. Lobby worked pretty hard in the middle. Munn has been consistent. Caruso, nice kick. He got ditched by Willoughby, and Willoughby goes back and says no harm intended. Rowe kicks high. Now Willits just shook his man and then couldn't take the mark. Did all the hard work, got rid of Mills, which is, as Neil Cross said, pretty hard to do because Bryant Chambers hasn't been able to snag a goal on him hardly this year. And just muffed the mark, Ryan Willits. I don't know, there was a bit of sun in his eyes.
It might have been right in the sun.
Yeah.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Panozzo's kick to Willoughby, who kicked the last goal, his second of the match. And the former Sydney Swan, who I think started off at the Bays, then went to the Swans, and now he's back at his home club.
Certainly good to see, you know, boys, when they do come back from the AFL, that they come back to their traditional clubs.
Goes in short to Allen. Panozzo spreads it out to Mills, who wouldn't have had 5 possessions for the game. And then Adlington.
As you missed it, that was 2 from Ian Mogridge.
2, was it? I did miss that. Here's Kirkby. Ruwalt. Oh, eyes for the footy. Couldn't take the mark. Bricknell over the back. And Kerr finds Bailey.
Bailey takes his time. Back into the corridor, Caruso. Takes off, looks for the hand pass. Wasn't the greatest. Izard ducked, got away with it. Ferguson with support. Why'd they go Beach? Oh, crash coming up. Burst. Came out the worst. Kane to Willoughby. Inside 50, Grimer. Kick was just a little too severe, Grimer. Tried for something miraculous. Achieved something pretty ordinary.
Something pretty good for the kid who's on his push bike down over the back.
It's Father's Day. Does Grimer have any kids? Because you might have just kicked that one to him.
Security staff.
I think they'll need a new footy there because there's a big channel out the back there of Richmond Oval, so I'd say that's probably down in the big drain that runs through the western suburbs here.
Well, you can see a couple of the spectators looking longingly. It suggests that maybe they think that ball is coming back.
I think it's time for a new Sharon, boys.
Yeah, the umpires have gone for the new Sharon. They've taken the safety first attitude. We might be waiting a while if we wait for that ball to come back.
Didn't we see a young bloke take off with a football here at West Adelaide? It was on YouTube.
the race is on, and in fact, the ball has come back.
Very honest.
Is it the same one?
There's some young lad's probably being chastised by his father for handing it back. No, I'm just kidding. So Thompson it is to take the free kick for out on the full. And he belts it long. Webb in the middle of the pack with Ferguson for Westies. Ferguson with the rove. Caruso went in against Adlington, who was strong. Allen slipped it out. Well done to Hall. Behind the play was Kane. Oh, gee, Caruso wasn't fooled by the dummy. Now Allen, centre corridor numbers. Kirkby was the man. Silverlock came late. Kirkby away on the left foot. Numbers for Westies. Murphy, surely that was unrealistic. Umpire certainly thought so. Free kick Westies.
Well, if you take the mark, you're all right, aren't you?
Well, it's not unrealistic. That's right.
I'm sure your dad would mind a few of the... What did Peter think of the big fly from the Birdman?
Oh, I think he liked it. I think everyone liked it, didn't they?
Oh, it was just a sensational mark. Beach. Cranston with the big thump away. Izard just ducked that head a fair bit today. He's combined well with Rowe on many occasions. Greg Rowe, lovely kick, but Martin just got too far under it, and Kirk judged it well. The handball was a bit 50-50, but Mules to Panozzo. Panozzo has a look, a bounce, got a good shepherd. Who's he going to? He's going to Backwell, and Backwell's 50 metres from goal. Got a lead and a lovely pass, and the mark's taken by Fisher, and they're just using that ball, just tuning up for a finals campaign, the Bays.
Absolutely, and the Backwell to Fisher, that's been called a couple of times today, and Fisher, this second half, he's really made his own, coming up for I think his 25th disposal, his 12th mark he just took. That's a pretty handy day for a mid-range player, mid-sized player.
16 of them since half-time.
A day's work from Fisher, and can he cap it off here? No. He just pushed it away, and he's third behind.
Looking at Glenelg, I mean, they've got a lot of luxuries. They've got some quality players down in the twos as well. They've got Doldig as an extra spare forward who played a pretty good game in the twos. They've also got, who am I thinking here? They've got Sammy Rudolph, of course, playing down back in their twos. And he, to me, from what I saw of the seconds game, he was probably their best player. So some quality there coming back in.
And Holmes with an injury.
That's right, absolutely. And then if they get Myers back. So, you know, they've got some quality to come back, perhaps, and certainly got some quality in reserve.
Well, they've had plenty in reserve this afternoon by the looks of it. Kirk, after his last handball, decided just to belt the ball with the kick.
Interesting.
Beach flew high and took a nice mark. Now, Beach just
a bit more time to spend down there over the next few weeks.
At the beach, yes, and he took his opportunity there to take a strong mark and to give us a chance to do the replay. He's gone back very slowly. Finally called to play on. Beach goes short. I thought he kicked it straight to a Bay player there for a moment, but no, it was Simon Munn, cleverly disguised.
Munn's played well.
Munn looking for Webb, missed him. Back well away, drew the player nicely. Panozzo off half-back has been good this afternoon, running to the 50. Over the top he goes. From the angle, Kane should kick a goal, does kick a goal. Gee, the Tigers are just looking better and better, aren't they?
Yes, well, as we said, West Adelaide, perhaps the tendency now in the last quarter in the game, 4 or 5 goals away from them to ball away, and that's unfortunately what has happened now. The margin stretches out. We're looking at a 50-point margin, and the game really just slipping away from West Adelaide. And look, you know, to the credit of West Adelaide, they are playing the top team. They certainly don't have anything on the line, and they were with Glenelg for the first half.
It's 28 possessions for Ben Kane today, only headed by the man who gave him the ball. Luke Panozzo's had 32.
They've both been pretty good, and when you consider that Cupido's not playing, and they've had a few other players that Hassan retired, and
Burse has had his problems.
Burse has had his problems, and Stephen Morris has had a knee reconstruction. So they've had about 5 or 6 players go out of this side. But I think the upside for West Adelaide, despite what might happen at the final siren here, has been outstanding for them in season 2009.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cranston kicking high and long. Jeremy Rowe, eyes for the footy. This man's been terrific for them, and he'll look forward to next year. Bricknell spears it out to Bailey, the accumulator. He'll kick long and hope for Langford. And Langford gets a little bit of a push-off. Well done by Adlington to back into him. Kirk has done pretty well on Martin since he's gone onto him. Panozzo, touch number 33, back to Kirkby, who's in the back half. He's got Lee Belt, who he doesn't want to go to him, and decides to chip it out and find Panozzo. Touch number 34 will keep the counter going. Over the top to Kellogg, who's getting some valuable game time against Grimer. Just shoved his opponent Ferguson in the back. The umpire's going to have to bring it back. Now, have you looked at Ferguson's game today? He's been fantastic.
Outstanding, he really has, and Grimer's giving away 4 or 5 free kicks, so obviously not, the touch isn't quite there. Grimer, as we said earlier, not leading as strongly as maybe he could, and a little bit clumsy in the contest.
Caruso and Burse work it to Greg Rowe. From just inside 50 goes the distance, but away to the right, and the minors score for Westies as they crack 50 points for the game. Not quite, 49. Moggy was too quick for me on the stat.
1 goal, 1 to Greg Rowe.
Yeah, and certainly hasn't been Westie's worst today. He's done some very good things, got some good hard football, and he's improving each season.
The upside is quite good. Hall to Panozzo, touch number 35. Hall with a good run. They'd like to run this game out. And there is Ferguson, who outpoints Grimer. Over the top, Greg Rowe again. Short kick, just sits okay for Willits. Willits is about 70 from goal. Just wants some numbers to get back. Goes to the pocket. Langford, good lead, good kick. And then Langford's pushed in the back, no free kick. Cranston to ground, gets his arms free. He's got long arms. Fisher can't quite get it. Silverlock, it rolls out. I thought Langford might have just got a free kick in that last exchange.
I think he was certainly hoping for it.
He was.
Cranston just very quickly, the agility of the big man to bend down, get that ball. Maybe should have taken it out, but to still take it and give the handball off was excellent.
Well, Martin just thought about goal number 5 there for a moment, but there'll be a ball up.
Russo just picking himself up. Lucas Block coming off the ground. Ty Allen. Kirk nicely, and they work it from the back to Bays. Kellogg again, long, wide, high. Well done by Beach, trapped it well. Ferguson picked up the crumb. Beside him, inside he had Cracker, and it was almost like rugby league. He just didn't draw the player properly. Now he provides a shepherd for Langford, goes down the line, puts it into the path of Webb, who was perhaps interfered with. The umpire called play on. Now it's Izzard, who again, Michael, ducked that head. That time he got a free kick. He's become somewhat of a pro at doing that this afternoon. 4 games of AFL football with Port Adelaide. James Izzard.
He read the Tim Weatherald school. Went to the Tim Weatherald school of how to win a high tackle.
Duck and weave and get the head under the arm. Izzard, quite an angle to work with across the goal face, and punched through that time by Kirk. Quickly going to pick up the ball is Hall. It was an excellent kick of the ball, and therefore he surrendered it to Panozzo. I was going to say a variation for the Bays in allowing Hall to bring the ball in, but Panozzo's more traditionally the player who does it.
Was out of the vicinity last time, Neil. I think Panozzo's kick, and Kane and Cracker, eyes for the football. Commend both players there. Been impressed with Cracker. He's worked his way into the game. He's had a lot of touches and been too bad. Kane kicks out wide. Poor kick. Anderson will have to work hard here against Panozzo. Anderson went to ground, and the umpire said he was pushed. I don't know about that, but they're closer than we are. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah. That's why the umpires didn't make that call. Silverluck, who cut down that tree that he was sitting under for about 2 weeks last week with that funny hairdo, taken by Caruso. Back to Langford. Langford kicks high. Munn. Oh, well done, Ruwalt. Good tackle. Willets just fed it back. Bailey couldn't get it. Murphy was first there. Munn ducked the head. Worm burning left footer. Webb all sprawled. Couldn't take it. Kirk, they'd be happy with his game. Goes back. Bricknell judged it well, but couldn't hold on to it. Then flicked it back. Beach just bounced off Kellogg, who did so well, who got it to Kane, who thought about going short, but decided to go to Allen, and he's got to wait for it, and Thompson came with a fist. And here's Cranston, like a rover, Big Trev. Here he goes, hoists it high. McConnell, he's been unsighted. He won't get in the frame here. And Kerr did pretty well and took the mark and cleared it for West.
Bailey, again, racking up another stat. Munn's inside, but he just takes his time. No run from West from behind. That's
27 for Bailey, 16 and 11.
Munn drops it in short. This side of the ground, just coming onto the ground, was Lobby. That was speculative at best to get that ball.
He wouldn't get it running in an open goal. They're not going to give it to him there.
Bays sweep it forward again. Murphy in slow motion, supported by Backwell, who isn't much faster. Backwell waits and waits and gives it straight away to Beach, who read it pretty well, and in keeping with what had happened, he turned it over straight away with an ordinary kick, and the Bays will reload again. Kellogg over to Fisher, who has form against the Westies team in terms of McGarry medals. Last year he won 6 votes from 2 games, did Adam Fisher, and he's been good this afternoon and probably in the votes as well, as Murphy takes the mark in the forward pocket.
Pretty tough kick, this one. Wind going almost into his face.
So Murphy, Ben suggested, kicking into the teeth of what breeze there is on a perfect afternoon. It's a perfect kick.
That's a very, very good kick.
He's been impressive. His foot skills have been wonderful today. He's kicked, or he's delivered a couple of balls into the forward 50 with absolute talent. And then that is just a wonderful kick to take the grab out so wide, kick his second for the day. A good, strong leap. Go back with confidence, drop the ball well, straight into the teeth of the wind, and see a little bit of left to right, and just used it perfectly, and a wonderful kick.
A lot of difference about how the top side, Glenelg, go into the final series in comparison to Central District, who dropped that game against Norwood. So I suppose you would say going into the final series full of running and winning form, even though they get the break just to break that up a little bit for next week. But Centrals v Sturt, it'll be a
cracker. It'll be an absolute ripper next week. And Centrals, look, don't write them off just because they dropped that one to Norwood. Norwood do play well against Centrals, and they look forward to playing Centrals, especially at home at Norwood Oval. But look, don't write Centrals off. They've been there before. They know what the job is. They know how to do the job, as we all know. And Glenelg certainly go in as the favourites, but Sturt and Centrals next week, that is a game to look forward to.
54 points the margin at Richmond Oval. Lobby over the top. He's been all right for them today, but he's clashed with Cranston. Cranston's probably taught him a bit of a lesson or two today. But
probably around the ground, certainly. I mean, the ruck taps themselves have been pretty even, but around the ground, Cranston certainly worked extremely well, and he's just so agile for a big man.
Cranston's had 12 possessions and Loeb in 9.
Yeah. Here we go again. Reimer this time, got it down to Allen. Kellogg, another possession to him. Kicks long. The man we spoke about, Cranston, takes the mark. They've just pushed him forward and said, let's see if you can cap your day off with a sausage roll.
Put the icing on the cake.
Yeah, all those cliches.
The sauce on the sausage roll?
Yeah, we could wax away here for a while, Ben, but we won't bore our audience. Here's Cranston. Goal umpire just watches it sail over his hat. And it's a 10-goal lead for the minor premiers.
Well done and well deserved. It's been a good game for Cranston. He's certainly the leading, as we've mentioned a number of times, the leading tap ruckman in the competition, and he's been very agile around the ground, getting a hold of the football, and good to finish off with a goal for himself there. So, I mean, we talk about next week. The Eagles-North game is going to be interesting. I mean, both of those sides, we feel as though, look, they're in the finals, they've done well to make it, but at the same time, it's probably there's a league below maybe the top three. But whoever can get the goods there. Eagles coming off the week off with the bye. North Adelaide with a good solid win yesterday, but then the game we're all looking forward to, Glenelg and Sturt, obviously, to see who will take on, Centrals and Sturt, to see who will take on Glenelg the following week.
Cranston pushes forward away from this secondary bounce. Reimer being given a run on the ball, just palms it down. Out the back was Izard, working hard. Cracker sends it wide, looking for Silverlock. Gee, that was clever. Martin with the lead. Back in the square went Willits. Couldn't take it. And can he get to it just before the line? No. In the end, over the line, touched. And the minor score for Westies.
Westies have used Cracker well off the back of the pack there, and Silverlock certainly been impressive. Good player for the future.
Ryan Willits against his old side. It just seems so long ago now. Reimer. His dad's name's Monty. How's that? Played for Longford, the NTFA in Tasmania for a long, long time. Here's McConnell, who kicks out wide. And there's no one there for your team, Justin. And it rolls out of play.
Had an interesting day. I saw him last week play pretty well and get a good return. Today, only really sort of skirted the packs and hasn't had a lot of the football, and certainly hasn't been damaging when he has had it.
And that's the sort of day that McConnell can have. Then he can have other days like he did have last week, Ben, where he just snags you 4 goals. It's siren time. And the season ends in 2009 for the Bloods. But it still continues for the Bays. 16-14, 110. West Adelaide 7-9, 51. A 59-point victory to the minor premiers, and they get and earn the week's rest next week.
Well, we see Glenelg go in with the win, and a good solid win for them. More importantly, it looks as though they've got through unscathed in terms of injury, and they'll take the week off. They'll use it
to recuperate, rest up and get their players primed for the second week of the finals. West Adelaide, on the other hand, they battled manfully. They've got some good quality young kids. They've got a really strong defence and some good leadership there, the likes of Ferguson. And then, you know, just that second half, I guess, just proved a little bit too much, a little bit beyond them. Glenelg took it up a level. West Adelaide couldn't quite go with them. And the result today, probably the result we all expected, with Glenelg carrying a reasonably comfortable win. But some positives for Andy Collins going into season 2010. Mark Micken, obviously, with some very important weeks ahead of him, and a team going in with some good form.
Yes, the Bays finish with their best season under Mark Micken, best in terms of minor rounds with 17 wins. Last season they finished top with 16 wins and 4 losses. This season 17 wins, 2 losses and a draw. And Luke Panozzo is one of their key players through the back lines running forward, and so he's got plenty to talk about with the finals coming up.
Well, look, just watching that game there, it appeared that they went at you early, but just if you held on long enough, you're going to run away. Did it feel like that?
Yeah, that's for sure. We knew we come into this game knowing West has been big improvers this year, and we knew if we didn't bring our A game, you know, for the whole day, they were going to come and really challenge us. But to the boys' credit, they come out in the second half and really took it to them and come away with the win. It was good.
Also, as it went on, you seemed to get the ascendancy at the stoppages too.
No, it was good. The boys, they've been brilliant all year. The likes of Ty Allen, Fish and Benny Kane running through there, link up. You know, they've been brilliant all year, and they did it again, so it was good.
Well, mate, you've enjoyed some pretty good form against Westies in the 3 games this year.
Yeah, no, it's good. I don't mind running off half-back. It's good fun. Nice big oval out here, Richmond Oval. Find plenty of space, and yeah, good to get a kick.
Now, if we go back to last year, we compare it to right now, what's the team functioning like in comparison? Do you feel like it's going a little better?
Yeah, I think we're a lot better for it. You know, coming into last year, you know, it was all finals, it was all new to the boys, and grand final, and I think we're definitely better for it this year, you know, with the experience of last year, and the boys are very hungry, I can tell you that.
Lukey, rest up. We look forward to seeing you in a fortnight's time in big September.
Cheers, Sodas. Thanks.
It's Luke Panozzo, quite an afternoon, and 52 possessions for Panozzo in 2 previous games this season, across 2 previous games this season against Westies, and 12 marks. 25 and 2 in round 11 and 27 and 10 in round 4. So he certainly enjoys playing against the Bloods, because he was very impressive again this afternoon.
Certainly right. I mean, he's got a wonderful ability to hit up targets. He also brings in the runners around him. And when you combine him with the likes of Kane and some of the smaller players, you know, Backwell and those guys through the midfield, they just have a copious number of really important runners for them.
Ball use particularly important for the Bays. As we've talked about, you know, they do put some scores on the board, but they haven't been at their most efficient in front of goal. In fact, they're woeful. They're 9th in the competition. But of course, on the other hand, they're number 1 for scoring shots. So they are creating plenty of chances, and certainly, as you can tell, their fans out in force this afternoon, and there's no doubt that there'll be even more fans out in force in 2 weeks' time when they travel to Football Park for the second semi-final, come what may, whether it be Centrals or Sturt.
There's definitely an air of expectation around Glenelg and with the Glenelg supporters. We know that Mark Micken is a very disciplined coach. He doesn't get too carried away, and he really has instilled that into his players. They play a disciplined brand of football. They've got some wonderful runners. They've got good balance across the ground. They've got good, strong defenders with good marking targets up forward. So a good balanced team, a team that really should go a long way in the finals campaign, and a team that certainly has some confidence coming out of today and also out of what has been their best season under Mark Micken.
Certainly an element as you see the players coming in there. You can sort of read on most of their faces that, okay,
job done. Yep, absolutely job done.
Well, they'll group in, and again, I don't think there'll be a raucous team song here, but it'll signal, as we said, their 17th win for the season. Once they finally get their act into gear. And I tell you, it's not really pleasant listening to footballers sing anyway, but let's have a listen anyway. Well, there's no Pavarottis amongst them, but they're certainly able to enjoy that moment.
Even though Stephen Rowe in there, I think he'd class himself as a bit of a Pavarotti.
Yes, we'll leave that one alone. Anyway, the Bays certainly at times this afternoon, as we said, maybe there's no Pavarottis, but certainly the Bays were on song this afternoon. Maybe certainly in the second half, they eased their way home rather than in the first half, when they were certainly challenged by Westies, who were pretty brave for long periods of that first half.
Yeah, true, Neil. I mean, Glenelg started very well. They squandered a few opportunities. We mentioned their inaccuracy around goal. And they kicked 4 or 5 points before they got their first one on the board, and looked as though they were going to run away with it early. To Westies' credit, they hung in. They were disciplined early. They really set up their strategies nicely. Their stoppages were good. They pushed back hard in defence and helped their defenders out. But then from that point, Glenelg really did start to take some ascendancy. The end of the third quarter, and they really kicked ahead. They kicked 3 goals very, very quickly, and then from that point pushed ahead and really took Westies out of the contest.
Yeah, in fact, they were trailing by 3 points going into time on in the second quarter, and then they kicked those 3 goals in time on. The Bays led by 16 points at half-time, and then enjoyed a very solid third quarter, 5 goals to 3 straight, actually, from Westies. That put the gap at 30 points at three-quarter time, and from then you got the sense psychologically Westies have put the cue in the rack.
Yeah, they did. I mean, to the players' credit for Westies, they certainly didn't give up. You know, the likes of Izard and Caruso and Rowe, I mean, they were good. They put their head over the footy. They certainly, belted in hard and managed to get a bit of the football themselves. But at the same time, the class of Glenelg really came to the fore, and they managed to push ahead and record what was a very comfortable and no doubt pleasing win for Mark Micken and the boys.
Yeah, and I think just as importantly, of course, no injuries to speak of for the Tigers. Ben Fisher, unfortunately, in probably what was the mark of the day, injuring his knee, but fortunately that seems to be only a medial ligament for Westies.
Yeah, we hope so, and we certainly wish him all the best with that recovery and hope it is only a medial ligament. It was courageous when he took that mark, and no doubt the only major injury of the day, and for Glenelg, as you said, it was just good to get through unscathed, or relatively unscathed, to get to run the legs. The likes of Grimer coming back to get some run in his legs whilst he wasn't at his electrifying best, and maybe didn't play a fantastic game today. He still managed to get himself a full game of football. They got him around the ball in the last quarter, which was good as well, and they'll take a lot out of that.
Trevor Cranston finishing off a solid day as he kicks the last goal of the match. Glenelg, in the end, led at every change. 3 points at quarter time, 16 at the half, 30 at three-quarter time, and at the final siren, it was a very comfortable 59-point victory for the Bays. And we see there those stats, and they did rack up those stats as time went on through the match.
And Westies certainly had a fair few stats themselves, but they did turn it over a lot more often. Glenelg, really dominated through that second half, and the inside 50s, to have 57 inside 50s, look, that's always going to win you a game if you have that many opportunities going forward. And to Westies' credit, they pushed them wide, but really they were on top and just had so much football going forward.
Well, Matthew Martin this afternoon, a bit of a revelation because, of course, Ryan Bennett going to play in the Riverland. He was a discovery in himself this season. They plucked him from Renmark. He came down mid-season, kicked 21 goals for them, but this afternoon he's not playing. They stuck Matthew Martin up forward, and it was a bit of a revelation, as we said, and this is a team goal as much as anything too, because Adlington was intent on forcing that ball through for the rush behind. Martin picked it up, snapped it on his left, one of 4 goals he kicked from full forward.
That's right, it wasn't the prettiest of football, but the way he snapped over the top of the left foot there, and a wonderful goal and good goal awareness.
Absolutely, and well, the Bays showed good goal awareness in kicking 15 this afternoon. Perhaps, maybe accuracy let them down a bit. I wonder what Mark Micken thinks. Well, he's with Sodas right now.
Well, Mark, some tidy work by your boys. Progressively got better as the game went on. You take that as a solid hit out before the finals?
Yeah, a bit of concern over our early scratchiness. Thought we were pretty fumbly early, and two grabbed the ball a lot and missed it a few times at ground level, but thought all that tidied up in the second half, and we started to get our hands on it and control the game a bit better with our use of the ball and speed of movement as well, and that certainly assisted our scoring in the second half.
Your flexibility looked tested too, with a few boys you come up okay?
Yeah, we just had a few bumps and bruises during the day, and we brought them off to to make sure that they're okay, and then that caused us to have to readjust a little bit. And I thought the way they did readjust was good. You know, we ended up playing different players in different roles that they have been in recent times, and it was good that they were able to sort of be mentally flexible enough to, you know, to handle it.
Mark Neil Cross upstairs. Just curious to know how you're going to approach the next couple of weeks, because as you said, you're a bit fumbly early, so that maybe suggests you might need a little bit more touch on the football.
Yeah, for sure. I made that point after the game. I thought and at quarter time too, I thought early we were very fumbly and you know, second grabbing the ball. So we can do some work on that, and you know, we can have a couple of really good strong training sessions this week, and one or two next week or the week after as well. So we'll certainly have a managed program, and you know, for our players we need to look after, we'll do that too.
Mark, Ben Knight's upstairs here as well. Well done today, and well done on the season. It's a great result and really great minor round. And I guess going to the forwards now, something that's impressed me all year has been your depth, and looking at your twos today as well. They played a very good brand of football, and you've got a couple of quality players there who could maybe fill gaps if needed. Yeah, we're certainly aware of those players. You know, they've been slogging away for a fair while in the reserves, and you know, Jared Kellett was an example who's come up in the last couple of games and done particularly well, and he was a regular 40 possession winner before he got a go at senior level, and there's a few others there that we've kept our eye on as well. And you know, for them to have the season they have, especially the last 6 weeks, the way the reserves have played, there's a lot of good form there, and that's a good thing.
Mark, having those reserves in the mix too, September, that puts a lot of pressure on for spots too, doesn't it? Oh, it does. You know, and I think the players in the team realise that, and they can see what's happening, you know, underneath them, and it certainly does. You know, gives those guys an incentive to perform, you know, even beyond what there already is. Robert, Sammy Rudolph has come back from his travels and been playing some good footy in the twos. Is he a realistic chance, if need be, to play? I think if need be. You know, he played 2 halves in the first 2 weeks, and then today a much fuller game, and I thought he's found a little bit more form today. So it's just good to have a player of that quality in the mix. And you know, come next couple of weeks we'll work it out. But you know, he's of the understanding that he's there for, you know, if we need to call on him, and that's what we'll do if we need to. Nice insurance policy to have going into September, mate. Good luck. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Yeah, thanks, Otis. Thanks a lot.
Mark Micken there, and yes, they have some depth, some talent, and a good run into September. We look at this mark of the day, and Ben Fisher running back, taking a very, very strong mark, and unfortunately his bravery was rewarded with an injury, hurting his knee in that collision with Daniel Kirk.
Just a quality contest from both players involved. It was a lovely mark, and that's just courage personified, and unfortunate for the young man that he ended up injured there, Ben Fisher, but he'll be back bigger and better next year.
Just the 4 possessions and the 2 marks, and as we said, that one very costly. It seems like he's done a medial ligament in his knee out of that. Well, you heard Mark Micken talk about Jared Kellogg, very important to the Bays, a young man who was racking up 40 touches in reserves before he got a go, and now he's shown that he can do it at league level as well.
It certainly is a luxury that Mark Micken's got with the quality of players in his reserve side. They're playing some very good footy. He's got some good strength, both tall and short in the twos, and then he's also got a couple of guys to come back in today, you know, the likes of Danny Myers. So, you know, he's got some luxury there, and this young man, it's just a you know, a really good story, the fact that he works so hard throughout the year and can play such good league footy. Now he's come in. Very interesting.
They've used only 31 players, the Bays. Only 4 have played every game, so there's pressure on among the small group that get to play league footy. Here's the round 23 final scores. Norwood beating Centrals in the upset of the round, because going in we thought it's top v bottom basically through most of this round. North, though, comfortably beating the Panthers. Sturt over Port Adelaide, as we said. Unfortunately, it's bye-bye to Tim Ginniver as coach of Port Adelaide. And then Glenelg beating West Adelaide by 59 points this afternoon. The Eagles have the bye going into their elimination final. Down to the boys on the boundary. So does, and Michael, I'm going to throw this one firstly at you. Tim Ginniver, an awful way to finish as Port Adelaide coach, Michael.
Yeah, terrible way for Tim to finish. I don't think that he could have really done too much with a lot of injuries and a lot of players that just didn't perform. But he did introduce a lot of young players, so I think that's probably the thing that Tim will look back on.
Michael struggled not only on field but struggled off field. We've seen a new president come in, new CEO. They're going to need a new coach, so plenty of work to be done by those boys to make sure they're there and competitive next season.
Ben, contrast that to Jared Cotton. Great finish.
Yeah, great finish for Jared, and look, he's done well. He's injected a lot of youth into that team, and he's maybe got rid of a few of the experienced AFL players that Norwood really relied upon in the first half of the season. Be interesting to see who gets that job, as it will be with the other jobs that are up next year.
Michael, I know for a fact Darren Buick was in town this weekend looking at just what SANFL club he might go to.
Well, if any club got hold of Darren Buick, I'm sure that they'd be pretty rapt with that. I mean, he's a decorated player, former Essendon star, and I think he spent some time at North Melbourne, hasn't he? So I think any club who thought that Darren Buick could get into their system would be pretty handy. I think they'd be happy with that, Mark.
Yeah, I love the speculation this time of year. There's jobs around. They just throw names everywhere. But look, Buick's done some good work as an assistant coach, so he certainly would be in the mix. Now we're looking at guys that have been assistant coaches for a while. Perhaps the option is to come and take control of a club in your own right if you want to then try and make that path up.
Okay, last one, boys. Looking at that top 5, going into the finals, in a word, who's best prepared, Michael?
I think Glenelg. I think they've got the best preparation coming in. They'll have a week's break. I think they'll do it a lot better this time, so I think Glenelg. Yeah, Glenelg best prepared, but I think if you get Central in a grand final, regardless of their preparation to get there, I think it's always going to be at least 50-50 with them.
Yeah, it goes without saying, doesn't it? Let's look forward to what's coming up in the finals action at Football Park next Sunday afternoon. It's the Eagles against North Adelaide in that elimination final, and then the qualifying final to follow, Centrals against Sturt. And join us from 1:30 on Sunday afternoon. Thanks, Ben, for your company this afternoon, and we'll see you next week from Football Park.